Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Thursday Night Live. My name's Tim Hepworth. Dana Lattery's on the other side of the room. We're here with you from Fly Fishing Board Outfitters. Welcome to another week. We're here to tie a couple flies, to kind of shoot the shit, talk around, and hopefully have a good time.
Shoot the poo.
There's my better half over there.
What he meant to say was shoot the poo.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant.
I am, yes, welcome back to Thursday Night Live. I'm Dana, and that's Tim. I always come in late because I am a courteous gentleman. Ladies first.
Yeah, he's just trying to figure out all the technical things.
Yeah, we've got way too many screens and everything's set up. So hopefully we're trying to set up a screen in front of us so that we can check out your guys' messages without staring at our phones the whole time. Be a little more connected to you. So welcome. Cheers. Don't watch this screen, it's delayed. I'm
oh, it is a little delayed. Yeah,
I'm not moving. So cheers. Let us know where you're from. We would love to say hi. And let us know what your favorite beer is, where your favorite brewery is, and what's your home water.
Mm-hmm.
For us, it's the Bow River. We guide out of southern Alberta, Fly Fishing Board Outfitters. So Bow River is where we spend most of our time, and hopefully, given all the positivity coming out of the world today, we're out there sooner than later.
Yeah, things are looking good. They're looking more positive than they have Well, I mean, we've been with you every week, so we've kind of been able to like, keep you updated
Yeah,
on our
we've-
part. But it feels like this is probably the most positive things have been.
Yeah.
Here in Alberta, we're about to roll out our phase 2 in about a week, I think,
Yeah.
and it's looking promising. So
Yeah,
we're
it's
hoping to
good.
be able to have you out on the boat soon.
And the river's looking good.
River's
Unlike
looking good too.
Friday,
Yeah.
we did get out Friday.
We did. We did
And
fish Friday.
we didn't do great, but we got out.
We caught fish. A couple.
Probably the best part about that was the drunk and disorderly. I'll let Tim tell the story.
Yeah, well, we did tie the drunken disorderly that previous night with you guys. So, being that the fly didn't blow up, I figured, hey, we should maybe try it on a fish. And I probably saw one of the biggest browns I've ever seen. Chase it in. Probably was planning on eating it, but I was looking over at Dana out of the
Yep.
boat, and I
Staring at me. I was
was
probably
picked up-
bent over tying up my shoes.
I was picking up my streamer to recast, and I looked down to this open mouth and
Yep,
did
and
not
I
turn
thought
and
we
go.
had Ren on our boat. The shrill of Tim was quite interesting.
Yeah,
And you almost smoked yourself in the head.
Oh, I did.
That was good.
There was colorful words that
Yeah, blue, green, red,
yeah,
yellow.
Yeah, all of them.
Rock
Yeah,
band.
it was awesome. I was
Do you
really
remember
hoping-
Rock Band?
Rock Band? Oh yeah.
Like on PlayStation? Like
Mhm.
that's where I got
Oh.
red, green, blue.
Oh yeah, sure.
Do you guys play Rock Band? All right, let's
It's
check
been a
in
long
and
time
see where
since
you're
that.
from. Sean is from GP. Gunner from Wyoming. Walter is Checksum, Indiana. Walter, is this your first time? If this is your first time, what we do here at Thursday Night Live Fly Tying is normal times in the world. We are gathered at our favorite brewery in Calgary, Bow River Brewing, and a bunch of our friends and people in the community come down and hang out with us. We supply them with. I always
do this. Where's the bag? I had one
I don't
back
know.
there.
I always look over here hoping he has one, because why would I have one? So yeah, we meet at a brewery every Thursday night. We supply all the material that you need to tie the 2 flies. As well, you get 2 fully tied flies as a reference, and what we call the insurance fly. So if you're new to fly tying and you just want to come down to the brewery and check it out with us, and you're going to walk away with a fishable fly of both flies that we tie. So there's no
Maybe
pressure.
You'll tie one that's also fishable.
And if you tied one that's also fishable,
Two
then
of
you'll
each.
have 2 of each. So it's pretty cool. And we don't charge for that. That's just kind of our give back to the community, the fly fishing community in Calgary. And yeah, we just go down, drink some beers, and we stream it live. But obviously, just like everybody else in the world, we are, I don't even know if it's quarantined, but we're somewhat not allowed to gather. So here we are for the last,
It's been 5-6 weeks. I think we've been in here.
I think this is 7.
It's been a lot of
7
weeks.
weeks that we've been in our studio here streaming to you guys, obviously on opposite ends of the studio, because 6 feet apart is what they ask us, so we do. And yeah, so we just hang out and chill, and Tim usually leads fly tying, and I'm usually kind of behind the scenes running 355 cameras and whatever. And I'll screw up again tonight because I'll forget to turn the cameras back on, so just bear with me. We're kind of a 2-man band show. So that's what we do on Thursdays, and so we're here, and we're going to be tying up some flies, but let's get back to this. What up from Trump Country? Trump Country. Haven't tied a boogeyman yet. How much blood should we expect this week?
It's going to keep it clean this week. No blood.
So if you
No
guys
blood.
weren't aware, last week we tied up the drunken disorderly, and Tim had a couple beer, and there was blood.
There was blood.
So we got cleaned up, and he cleaned up his fly, and maybe that was cheating the next day.
Maybe I was just chumming the water.
Chum in the water. From Meaford, Mark. Jason again. Hey, buddy, how are you? So I finally went out and bought a fly tying kit. Awesome.
Awesome.
What did you get, Jason? And did you buy a full kit, or did you just go and kind of piece it together? Let us know. That's super cool. And welcome to the ever addicting world of fly tying. Alana, hello, hey, hi. Sounds like a song. Roman Quintana from Montana. What's
Oh,
up,
man.
guys? Yvonne Roy, hi from Montreal. Cheers, fella. Let's see who else. Tom, Ola, John. Cheers, John. Welcome back. Cam is in his kitchen. That's a true statement. Cam, why don't you tell us about your neighbor and what he's building? Because that is worth entertainment in itself. The Yellowstone River, the Bighorn River. We were in the Big Hole, right?
Yeah, big hole.
Love the Big Hole. Have not fished the Bighorn. Tom is a repeat offender in Texas. Not sure if that's a...
Hopefully a repeat offender to watching the show.
Oh, I was wondering if that's like... James Jim William Crawford is around the corner from
What's up,
Rosebud Creek. That's not a true story, James William Crawford. That creek doesn't flow. Ben Armstrong. Personally, I'm looking forward to episode 38 when we finally get to tie a murder hornet with a big black stinger on it.
Keep the comments coming, buddy, because you've definitely got like the top 10 of the 10.
Yeah, and I'm concerned because no one here has a top fan badge that I can see.
Oh man, guys, get to work.
Where did everybody I don't know. Did Facebook take that away? Somebody's got to look into that because that was a good running joke that we had.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, Michigan. Whereabouts in Michigan? I went to school at Western. Kalamazoo. Are you close? Doug is heavily armed with Bow River Brewery. Another great night to be had. Cheers, Doug. We appreciate you. We miss you, and we can't wait to get back to the brewery soon and have a beer with you in person. Adrian Hughes, Melbourne, Australia. What time is it in Melbourne, Australia? I feel like it's morning.
I feel like it'd be, morning probably. Doesn't mean you can't drink beer though, right?
Victor Edmonds, northwest of Cochrane, the Dog Pound Browns.
Nice.
It's a true statement. That is a beautiful crick. Bruce Cameron, got to get up early for a material package, but at least enjoying the Riverfest. Bruce, did you not get a package? They are going too fast, and if I would have known that, we would have ordered enough material to package more. So we apologize for that. This kind of ramped up unexpected, but we're doing the best we can. Okay, so Cam is squealing like a little kid. Not sure why. You're in your kitchen. Donnie from Iowa, Steven from east of Edmonton, Kate Smith, Winnipeg, living in Calgary, right meow. David Spencer is watching. Randy, hey Randy, how are you, buddy? Good to... do we say see you? What's the new term?
Well, I don't know.
Good to read you?
Good to read you.
Good to read your...
Good to have your presence
Good to
with
read
us.
your typing.
Kind of feels like funeral talk. You're with us.
Randy used to work at OFF, often seen at the Italian Center, having coffee in the morning. So they shut that part down, so we won't see you. Rick Gertson, he's still from Calgary. He hasn't moved, and the river sucked today as well. So, well, that's good to know. There's a chance that it will improve. There's always, aren't we the most optimistic people in the world when going to the river?
Every time.
And then
this week. No, it's totally fishable. It's only like
and if it's not, you know what? We don't even care.
Yeah, we're here for the float.
And then as we got to the launch, I stared at the river and it changed from green to chocolate brown. Like, I don't think it did, but it's just like...
Sure seemed to.
Sure, yeah. But Rusty Pool checking in from Texas. Are you from repeat offender Texas as well? Steven, yes, okay. Rock Filter Distillery. It's a whiskey distillery. Where's that, Donnie? Carl, welcome. Marcus Von Baldwin. I miss beers and brotherhood. Amen, brother. That's probably the biggest thing that I miss is just the people. Mm-hmm. Richard from Newfoundland. You're 3.5 hours ahead? Is that right? Or two?
At least
3.5. I think they're the half hour. Joel, Denver, welcome. Cam wants a 3-beer fly.
3-beer fly. Okay. Line it up for him.
I have a 3-beer fly just for Cam. Okay. I was up all day building graphics. I watched this and it doesn't happen. And it's like, there's the 3-beer fly. Okay. So we got to get to some fly tying here and we'll come back and we'll say hi to the rest of you that we missed. Gavin, what's up? Alejandro Castillo, the Dirty Castillo, Hotchkiss, Colorado, the Gunnison Gorge Stoner. I say I'll be back, but I'm not. I'm still saying
You're
hi.
still saying 'em.
Dennis,
Do it.
what do you sell? You're in Michigan. How about Oberon? I think that's what it was. Okay, CJ Morgan. Hey guys, first time watching Renfrew, Ontario, Ottawa fly fishing, Bow River Outfitters. Yes, welcome CJ.
Welcome.
Fasten your seatbelt and keep your hands inside the ride at all times, because sometimes this gets to be a little bit of a runaway. Scott, he's got his setup. He's probably done a bit of his reno, and he's got. Did you see his setup?
I did see it. Looks good.
Looks good.
Pretty
Let's
def.
just see you spin. Oh, we should do some deer hair for him tonight.
Yeah,
I think
we
he's
should've.
ready.
Have you ever tied a fly, Scott?
I haven't seen one.
I haven't seen one. I'm just
But
curious.
He's
tonight
got
the
the
night?
beer. He's got Marcus von Baldwin's fly tying table. He's got a sweet vice. He's got his TV mounted. He's got Thursday.
it
He's
all?
here. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
We don't judge, but Cam judges because his neighbor's building the sketchiest of raised decks holding 2x10s at 20 feet with 2-inch screws. Yeah, he sent me pictures. He's like, I think he'd be better off just to glue it together and just let it sit overnight, or PL 4000.
Jeez.
Okay, Marcus, I heard they were taking it away because it hurts feelings. I don't know what that one was. Kim Goslin, Trevor G, using my wife's account.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Good.
We're literally going to get shirts made up
Yeah.
that say, I use my wife's Facebook account to watch Thursday Night Live, because there's a lot. I still don't see Miss Lyle.
Oh, right.
Yes, Randy, coffee soon. Adrian, 11 a.m. Friday morning here in Melbourne. What does tomorrow look like? I'm excited. The dog pound is underrated. Too bad it's not a secret anymore. That's a
Ask Dana
fact.
what he thinks about the dog pound.
Yes.
How many days have you spent on the dog pound?
The dog pound doesn't exist. Ohio. Picked up a Superior AA toolkit. Okay, this is Jason responding. It is everything I need to get started. And I didn't break. Yes. So the most important thing in fly tying is just to get started.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not economical to jump into a Norvise right off the hop, but get in a vise that works. It's functional for now, and then once you get addicted, it's a runaway. And a Norvise is kind of the end of the runway. Some of us long distance folks would like to tie with you. Besides just drinking, can we order the fly package? Tom, can you send an email? info@flyfishingbowriver.com. And yes, we have it. Obviously, things escalated quickly here, so we are working on that. So next year, next season, season 3, because we only have a few left here this year, we are going to be able to get you guys all of the episodes in advance, so that this isn't just a drinking fest. It is also a tying fest for everybody. Because when you do have the bags, it's pretty cool. All the materials in there. You get some already tied flies, and it's pretty slick actually. Spring Grove, Minnesota. The animation is great. Do you want to see the 3 beer? I believe what John was talking about was the 3 beer. I'm like, where's it?
I like it.
And it covers you. That's the best part. Okay, Sean Daves, long-time listener, first-time caller. Appreciate all you guys tuning in. Be interactive on here. Ask questions. My job is to sit here and communicate with you guys and to help answer questions. So we thought having our comments up on a screen in front of us that Tim might be able to see some of those, but I'll just chime in and make fun of him the whole time. Tom, okay, I guess I'll just drink. Don't let us twist your rubber arm.
Problem solved.
Mark Hammond from Wisconsin. Welcome, buddy.
Welcome.
And a good bobbin is essential.
That's the truth.
James went off the end of the runway. Yes, we have a new Norvise guy here.
Who's
James,
this?
William, James, Jim.
Oh, yes.
The Rosebud Crawford.
The Rosebud Crawford.
Rick is like, I see you moved the hat behind you.
So it's a little bit. Your mic's right in the way.
Oh, that's
convenient.
convenient. There she goes.
Oh, yes.
We'll get to that later. And by later, I don't mean today. Okay. 3 more episodes. We don't know, John. Hopefully it's only 3 more. That means that we have jobs, hopefully, in the future. And if it's not, we'll keep going. So, okay, do is where the rock. Oh, Spring Grove, Johnny Chase. Okay, that's it. I'll stay here with you guys. Let's head over to Tim.
Start doing some tie-in.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, like Dana reiterated, let's keep this conversation. So if you got questions as we go, I'll try to take my time, take some breaks as we go so that you can have lots of time to keep up. We're in no rush. We got nowhere else to be. So we're here with you guys. Want to answer any questions that you have or ignore any stupid comments you have about me?
I will not ignore them. I'm
he
here
may
to
answer
read
them. It's
them.
a good thing I can't actually see that screen because if you're making fun of me, I won't know unless he brings it up. So tonight we're kind of sticking. It seems like Dana said like we could do a show called what dries and streamers and dries. Yeah. So we're gonna do a dry fly tonight as well as another streamer. I did appreciate all the banter that went on last week with the last streamer. You were all taking votes over whether it would fall apart or not, and I'm a little hurt because
you were 3 beers deep.
I was 3 beers deep, and I didn't have to drive that night. So tonight you're only getting 1 beer, Tim. So things should be a little cleaner.
The question is, what shirt is behind you?
I knew you were gonna ask. Somebody's gonna ask it. So this is this is like the hat. We don't want to answer this question right now.
I know it's just kind of like, is it foreplay or is that?
No, this is Barry.
Yeah.
If you don't know who Barry is,
he's one of our logos, and we'll get to that because pre-COVID there was a lot of that stuff on its way.
Coming its way. Post-COVID, we'll see. Yeah, so.
Okay, Rick said you can pull the stickers off the new bags really cleanly and put them on your truck. That's really good to know because sometimes it hurts my feelings to think that a sticker goes to waste.
Yeah, those
so
stickers
if you can use them, perfect.
Use them.
Also, if someone said they're going to try to keep up, I think it was Steven, so let us know if it gets going too fast.
If we're going too fast, like I said, we got nowhere else to be. We'll slow it down, take our time. If you really want to see one of the techniques that we used on a fly done again, just tell me. I can whip finish or save the fly, set it down, and we'll redo a part of it so you can see it again if I didn't explain it well enough. Because we want you to be able to, obviously we're trying to teach you how to tie flies, so let's take it in stride. You can see these will be cached on YouTube and through our website later, but that being said, you can't rewind a live feed, so we'll redo and we'll help you through the process.
Yeah, so just talk to us and we'll rewind it, redo it. We're here
Rewind.
to hang out. There's no speed, there's no race. It's all about tying some flies, drinking some beers,
Absolutely.
and telling some lies.
So we are doing a dry tonight as well as a streamer. So the dry you see on your screen, this is the H&L Variant. It's a very good fly. It's a classic. You put it right up there to a Royal Coachman, something like that. It's been around for a very long time. Nothing new, but it is a very good fly. Some great things about it. It rides super high. You have calf tail in the wing as well as the hackle, so it's a very high riding fly for a dry fly. Yeah, it's great. Lots of good things. Lots of fish caught on this fly. I've used it a ton. More common sizes, you could tie this, even as big as a 10. Most of the time you see them in a 12 or 14. This is a size 12. For you guys with the bags at home, I think yours is maybe a 14. But when I go through this, I'm going to tie it on a size 12. I'm going to explain to you how we proportion things, how we create the lengths of the materials that we want. And yeah, we'll go from there. So we are going to start with the H&L Variant, and then we'll go to the streamer for the second fly. So go ahead and get your hook in your vise. Tonight I'm just tying on a standard size 12 dry fly. Well, once we go ahead and get that secured in our vise.
I brought my harmonica today. Should I pull it out?
You brought your harmonica?
Yep.
Is this like your guitar? Or are you going to serenade us again?
Yep.
We'll let Dana worry about the music, and we'll sort out the flies.
Do you know I used to be a DJ?
No, you didn't.
Remember I said drink some beer, tie some flies, and tell some lies?
Yeah.
Let's do a 3 beer fly. and I will tell some stories, and you guys choose if they are lies
Or
or
truth.
they are truths.
I like this. I like this game.
I feel like we're at grade 7
Yeah.
camp out.
You got a bottle we can spin? We need some more
Well,
players.
we do.
Need a lot more players. Okay. So we're going to go. So for thread tonight, kind of one of my new loves, and I'd never really thought I'd get on this train, but I am tying on a, this is Vivus, believe it's 12-aught nano in white. I'm actually going to show you, I use a white and a black thread in this one, and I'll explain to you why. If you have something that's small, it doesn't have to be super tiny, but we're looking for something like a 6-aught or a 70 denier, something in that range. I like this nano thread because you can go super small and it is extremely strong, so you can still tug on it really good. It's even tough to cut with your scissors. Like, the stuff is great. Can't say enough good about it. So that's what I'm going to tie with tonight, but I'm going to use both a white and a black thread. So if you have 2 bobbins and you have some white and black thread, roughly 70 denier, go ahead and rig up those bobbins, and we'll go through this fly.
So the game is actually called 2 Truths and a Lie.
2 truths and a lie, okay.
So I got to come up with 3 stories.
Okay. Well, you should probably come up with one before we get going here, so people can ponder it.
Well, I'm trying to connect some music. Can't do everything.
All right,
You already finished your first beer?
Nope.
That's what I thought. It's only been half an hour.
Okay, let's start our thread. We're going to start it right behind the eye, and we are going to work it back down, just laying a nice little thread base on the hook. When we come to dry flies, one of the other reasons I really like having this this super fine thread is we don't have to worry about bulking up this fly too much with it. So if you're using thicker thread, you really need to be careful, because you don't want to overdo it with the thread, because we want to keep nice smooth underbodies, and we don't want to bulk it up too much. And I'll set my scissors somewhere. There we go. So we'll get rid of that tag. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to bring my thread right back and lay it at about the point of the hook, roughly. Okay. So this tail, the tail and the wing are tied with the same material. So we have a calf tail. If you've ever worked with calf tail, it's an interesting stuff. It's really good, super floatable. You can use it for posts. You can use it for wings. I think that's pretty much what most things get used for. In this fly, you tie a tail with it as well. But it is a really good stuff. It's kind of unique in that you can also stack it. But the fibers, as you can see here, they're super, they're curly, kind of curly tips, but they do stack okay. They have a little bit of under fur under them. But most of the time, you'll see one side of it has quite long hair, and the other side has a little bit shorter hair, and down at the base is quite short as well. Length isn't super critical because you can trim it to what you want to use. So for the tail, if you're cutting this off of a patch, which I believe is what you guys have in your bags, but if you're cutting it off of a tail, grab a little bit more than you think you're going to need, because you normally pull some of the underfur out and you're left with just the ends being kind of not having enough. So I'm going to take off a decent chunk here. For proportions on this calf tail, I'll be honest, I struggle with it a little bit, and you might see it not turn out super awesome anyways, because the proportions can be tough, but I always take more than less, because at least you can pull some out. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to stack it, okay? Pretty important. We're going to stick it in our hair stacker, stack those tips up. And we always want to remember with the hair stacker is when we decide on which direction that hair is going to go. So for instance, this is my tail. So I know that the tips are going to point rearward. So I want to plan that. So when I open up my hair stacker, I'm already planning for those tips to come out in the direction they want to go. So now that I've stacked them and pulled them out, they're already going where I want them to be. Okay? So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to pinch just the tips, get a hold of them, can flick out some of that underfur, get rid of a little bit of it, and I'm pretty happy with that. That looks like a good amount for the tail. This tail, you can't think this is, I mean, this is a, for the most part, a mayfly imitation, but don't think mayfly tail here. You're going thicker than you think you should. There's more fibers than you think you should. So definitely err on the side of adding a little bit too much. If you find you have some hair that's longer than the other, just go and pull it out. Okay? And you get really good at switching hands. Okay? So I'm pinching really tight. I can switch back and forth, and those tips never become not stacked anymore, okay? So we're measuring this tail. We're looking at about 2/3 of the hook shank length. So if I go about 2/3, that's about what I'm gonna do. Okay, so again, 2/3 of the overall length of that hook is what I'm looking for. Okay, and I'm gonna transfer that to the back end. I'm gonna switch hands, take a gathering wrap. We're gonna do a couple of light wraps because we don't want to spin it on the hook shank. So I take some light ones, and then I get a hold of it. I'm gonna pull that tail straight up, okay, so that I can secure it all the way back to the edge of the hook bend. We don't want to go over the hook bend though, okay? We want to keep that tail right up on the hook bend, not going over it, because then it'll start pointing going down around the bend, which is not what we want. And for the most part, if you wanted to, you can adjust that length by pulling on those, pulling on the butts, which I did a little bit because I didn't quite like that length there, but that looks good there, okay? So I'm gonna take some wraps. I'm gonna pull up those butts, and I'm gonna trim them out. So kind of one of the big keys to this fly is we really want to maintain a good underbody, a symmetrical underbody, because we're gonna be wrapping peacock herl. We're gonna strip peacock herl, which is something we haven't done on the show yet, but I'll teach you. It might actually blow your mind, because you're gonna all of a sudden realize all these things you could use to make bodies out of. So it could be stems from hackle. It could be like peacock herl. It could be ostrich herl. There's tons of cool things. So this is kind of fun. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of ignore that butt end for a second. I'm gonna move up now, up the fly. I wanna leave about 2 eye lengths, and again, err on the side of too much, because when we tie in this wing, we can tie down on top of it and shorten up the space to the eye if we want to. So I'm gonna come at about a 1/3 mark. So a 1/3 way up the hook, or sorry, back from the eye. And I can also measure it off the eye itself, and I would say 2 eye lengths behind it is where I'm gonna leave my thread. Okay, about 2 eye lengths. Now I'm gonna go back to that calf tail. We're gonna now take a clump about twice the size of the one we took in the back end. And again, err on the side of too much here. So I'm gonna go in, cut a fairly big chunk out, because now we're creating a wing. We want it to be a pretty bushy wing. It's just very similar to like a wolf patterns or a royal coachman pattern, where you're tying this style of wing, and you want lots of fibers because you really want that wing to stand out. So I'm gonna stack them.
John's saying he definitely mislabeled his bags 3 years ago, because that's not what his calf tail looks like. I would love to see the photo of that.
Yeah, let's
please
message us. Let us know what
please
it looks
do
like.
share.
Yeah, so calf tail, the reason we're using it is because its flotation properties, and obviously in white it looks really good as a wing, but it is very floatable. There is other deer hairs that would work, but most of them flare too much. Other deer hairs.
Other hairs that are deer.
Yeah, other hairs that are deer. That if you were to tie them in and you pull on them too hard, they flare, and that's really not what we're trying to do here. So stack up those tips. Now this time, we're going to reorient our hair stacker in the opposite direction, because I want to pull those out and I want the tips to point forward this time. So I'm going to pull this out. Going to grab my tips. Going to get rid of a lot of that under fur. And again, trying to maintain, not giving too much away there. You want to keep those tips even, but you want to get out that under stuff, because we don't want too much bulk being laid down on the hook shank here, because we want to even out that body. But I'm happy with that. It looks like a good amount. I do have a couple of longer ones that you can see there, so I'm going to go in there and just pick those out. Because I want them
you got them all busy tying. They're not talking.
Not talking?
In here.
Well, guys, keep up. Keep talking. I'm taking a break after this, so you can.
You got to team up and like get your wife to text or run the.
You got a buddy there.
The computer. Speaking of which, where is Miss Lyle? Jennifer Lyle.
Lyle.
We might have to go for a search party.
Yep.
Jim James William Crawford, Mr. Olds Alberta Canada. You should go and find Mr. Stephen Lyle. He's MIA. He's probably fishing.
Yeah.
Oh, these people with beautiful weather and nothing else.
Come on, guys.
What other flies can you tie or use calf tail for?
Parachute Adams is one of the most classic emerger patterns that has always originally been tied with calftail. We tie it differently now for the most part with like parapost or something else like that. But a true Adams parachute Adams, always tied with calftail.
The broomstick caddis. Ryan's also a very awesome fly tire. So the broomstick caddis is great with the calf hair. Mm-hmm. Could you substitute a synthetic material?
For this? Absolutely, yeah. This is just, and that's a good point. It's a good question because, we always talk about this. Substituting material, we've kind of done it on the show a couple times on purpose just to see how different things work. Substituting material, this is a wing, and we're going for something that's quite floatable. So what could replace calftail for that? Well, you have things like Zelon, or you have Antron, you have, they call it parapost, McFly lawn, all of those things. We're going for a white colored wing, and all of those products float quite well. So easily replaceable with one of those. Don't stick with the calftail if you have to. The tail is a little bit more important to be calftail, just the design that we're trying to get out of it. But change so many things.
The best part is I got them all paused with calftail, and I got you too.
You got me too. I know.
How many of you are sitting at home like this with calftail in your hand? So
it was a good time, and get us once we've stacked it and we have to hold on to it.
Well played.
Well played, Mr. Dana.
Well played.
Yeah, so lots of options here, guys. Calftail is just how the original's tied, so that's what we're going off of. So we're tying in this wing. We've left our thread about 2 eye lengths back from the eye. We want this wing to stand up quite high. It is meant to be prominent. It's meant to stand out. So as you can see here in this one, you want it to stand up pretty good. Okay, so that wing's probably standing up almost a full hook length up. Okay, so we know what a mayfly's wings look like. They're compared to the overall size of their body, it's about the same height as they are long. Okay, so we want to imitate that same thing. So when I'm measuring it off of this body to tie in, I want them to stand up almost a full hook length, maybe just under. So I'm going to make that measurement. I see where those tips are. I've got this squeezed in my fingers already, so I know. So I'm just going to translate this measurement to my tie-in point, and I want it to be a little less than my actual measurement, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go take a gathering wrap. It's going to give my bobbin a quick clockwise spin. Don't let this stuff spin on the hook. So again, I'm just taking some light wraps. You can reorient that. And then I'm moving my fingers back, exposing more of it. And then once I get away from that original tying point, and I can check it too, right guys? Like I can pull it up and look. Is that going to be a good height? Do I like that wing height? I like it. It's pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to take some wraps back a bit before I go tight. Now I can pull down pretty tight on it. But if I'd have pulled tight right up at the head where I first wrapped, it would spin it around the hook, which is not what we want. Okay, so we want that to stay right up on top of the hook. Okay, so I'm going to take a few more thread wraps back. I'm going to lift up those butts, and I want to cut them off at a 45-degree angle, okay, down the fly. So that's what I did, tied them off at that angle. So now we're creating that underbody, right? I said I wanted it to be very even, because when you're wrapping quills... Why are you
spinning the bobbin?
What's that?
Why did you spin the bobbin?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So if I spin my bobbin, so you saw there when I went to take a wrap, right now if I go to take a wrap, my thread is automatically jumping rearward. Okay, you see that? If I were to now unwind my thread, so I'm going to go counterclockwise, I spin it. When I go to wrap, now you see my thread jumps forward instead. So I spun it clockwise so that when I went to take a gathering wrap, it jumped rearward onto the material. So it's grabbing right back against my fingers instead. So right now, if you saw, if I were to take a wrap, it's more going forward than rearward. Now if I clockwise spin that, so you're just thinking you're spinning it into your hand. So whichever direction is into your hand. Now if I take a wrap, you see how that jumped rearward. So it jumps right back against your hand into the material. Okay? Hopefully that answers that question. So then I'm going to come in and I'm going to kind of just prune this a bit on the edges. So I'm just going to take a little bit more off on the edges just to try to get a little bit better shape for that underbody.
Prune, okay. Are you talking about your green thumb that you've been working on the past week?
Oh, my never-ending garden project? Yeah, one of those.
Trish, are you watching? You owe this guy.
Yeah, please tell her that.
Husband of the month.
So basically what I don't want is I don't want any of those butts extending beyond where my last tie-in point or where I tied that tail in.
What type of thread are you using, just for people who have just tuned in?
Yeah, guys, so what I'm using here, you want to go fairly small, but you do need some strength. So I'm actually using this new thread I really like. It's a nano thread. This one is by Vivis. This is a 12-aught, but anything in the size range of 6-aught or a 70 denier will be just fine. I'm using 2 different color threads today. I'm going to use a white and a black on this fly, and I'll kind of show you why and where I do that. But I started with the white, so that's what I'm using. Okay, so I just want to make sure I don't have any butts that are too long that they're going into or beyond that tie-in point. Okay, so now I'm just going to slowly take some wraps rearward. Start tightening down on it a bit because we want to really make a nice compact tapered body. You don't want to jump that thread forward before it needs to go forward. And you're going to see I've got a bit of a bump there. I've got a little bit of a hump. So I want to do my best to even that out because we're not going to come back to this point here for a minute. So I'm just going to take some wraps and try to even that out a bit. Good. It's good enough for now. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to pull that wing up. Okay? I'm going to pull that wing up nice and high. You're going to have some little short ones that stick out in front. That's okay. We're not going to worry about those guys right now. I'm going to pull that wing up and I'm going to drive. It's what I call a wedge. Okay, so I'm taking thread wraps right into that material. I'm building a bit of a dam, you could even call it, up against it. Driving thread into it so that it will stand straight up. Or at least pretty close. So you can check it. Yeah, it's starting to stand up pretty good. We don't actually want this to stand straight up. We want it to stand almost vertical, but a little bit facing forward. Okay, but for right now it's okay because we want it to stand fairly vertical because we're about to part this wing.
Looks like Dr. Seuss's mustache.
What?
That's there it is.
All right,
it is so
is.
true. Where do you guys come up with this stuff? That's awesome.
True enough. Okay, guys, and I promise you the hardest part of this fly is this part. The wing is tough because we're gonna separate it. We're gonna almost like dumbbell eyes. We're gonna figure 8 on it. We're gonna get it so they're 2 standalone posts. So if you look at these guys here, we don't want just one wing. We want it to be 2 posts. We're gonna split them, get thread wraps between them. Okay. So next part of this is I take my scissors and I just go right down the middle of the hair, so it separates evenly, or as close to even as I can.
Mark thinks you called it Beavis thread.
Vivis.
V-E-V-U-S. Very strong thread for the gauge denier size of it.
So all I'm doing is I'm separating. Once I think I've got an even on one side and the other, I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to take a cross wrap so it starts to separate them. Okay? Now you're going to notice that if you pull too hard, it's going to tip your wing forward. That's okay. We can drive the wedge back in and bring your wing back up. What's more important right now is that we get these wings separated. So then I'm going to come with the other side and I'm going to make sure I get some thread wraps going in the other direction. So very similar to putting in dumbbell eyes. I compare them similarly. Taking some wraps. This is just the initial first stage here, guys. So just take some wraps so that it starts to separate. Okay? And you'll notice I'm not really pulling hard at all. I'm actually being quite delicate. So you can see there, it started to split. Okay? And I'm just being delicate with it. If I pull hard, those wings are going to pull right forward. And that's not what I want. So you can see the harder I pull, the more they want to tip forward. Okay? And we will drive them back up here in a moment, but we really want to get them separated first. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing some figure 8s. So you can see I've got no tension on my thread. You can see because the thread's separating there, so that I can get at least one full figure 8 before I pull any tension. Okay, I'll start to pull a little tension. Once I get back onto my hook, I pull some tension. You can see pulling some tension, locking in that figure 8. Okay, and now you can see as you figure 8, you'll see that now they start to really form their own posts. And then to save your work, take a couple wraps around the body. Okay, that saves it. So now all that stuff you just put in there isn't going to loosen up on you. Now also what we want to do is we want to come in here and we want to go around only the post itself. So again, nice loose thread wraps. around only the post. Do a couple wraps so it kind of secludes it. Take a wrap around the hook shank. Now I'm going to go to the other side, do the same thing. Couple thread wraps around just the post itself. Pull it vertical, and I can tug down a bit. Okay, so if you look here, I've separated my wing. I've got 2 posts. They're standing fairly vertical like 2 wings. I've gone around only the posts themselves. I've done a figure 8. I'm going to do a couple more in and through. You can grab them, spread them out a little bit more if you feel they need to be. Okay, so once you've got some thread on them, you actually can manipulate the wing a little bit. And don't worry about all the little fibers underneath. We'll clean those up in a second. What's important at this point is I'm a little too far forward, so I'm going to pull it back, pull both wings together, and I'm going to put a few more thread wraps in front. Build that down a little more. Now you can see they want to stand up a little better. And this is my theory on it, guys. When I get it to where I'm like, yep, that's it, stop messing with it. And the best saving of your work here, and maybe some of the more traditional tires will not like this part, but this is what I do. I go in there, I take a little bit of UV resin, okay?
Uh-oh.
I'm going in there, and all I'm gonna do, I know, hate me. I'm gonna go right in between the work. That's all I can say.
We can't watch you put UV resin on a dry fly.
I just did. Boom. And I told you to use it before on a post because it's brilliant and it works. So don't be hating. So now those things aren't going anywhere. That was just one tiny drop right between those posts, and we have saved our work. So now I want you to go in and just get rid of any of those little hairs that are straying. So you can clip them out, you can burn them out. This is another really unique tool that I really like. It's a cauterizer. Actually is exactly what they would use in hospital for cauterizing wound. But this one is actually sold by Hairline, so it's designed for fly tying. So I'm just gonna go in there and just burn out any little fibers that are stray. Don't touch your thread with one of these because it will disappear.
Zip. She gone.
She gone.
Oh, see, look, everyone's loving the halftime show
Well,
that
of
I
course
built.
it was.
Because you were dabbing. You should dab my beetles with more sink resin. Hey,
Apparently any resin is sink resin on beetles.
I tied you 4 dozen flies. 3 dozen are squirmy worms that I've melted, and then 1 dozen are your favorite beetles.
Mm-hmm.
Clients can't see their fly. I can't either because it's at the bottom. It's the bottom of the river.
It's an emerger.
Yeah. The
Just gotta give it
sinker
time.
beetles.
Yeah, give it time.
Close relatives to the pine beetles.
Yeah, very similar. Like a water boatman.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let us know if you've caught up.
So talk about the cauterizer more, because that's you played that so Joe cool that
Yeah, I did.
it needs a little more.
It needs a little bit more. So, it's my cauterizer. It is what is this? Oh, just a warning label. So what this is, guys, is it's simple. It goes off of just AA batteries. Pretty simple. All it does, you press a button, those batteries light it up. That tip gets nice and orange and hot, and once you touch anything, it burns. So it's super good for cleaning up stuff. I actually have adopted this tool and use it for pretty much everything, as you can see. The original places I saw it used were more in like spinning deer hair. So you spin deer hair, you've trimmed up. You don't really want to take scissors or a knife in there, but you still have some errant fibers. Go in there and just burn. Just burn a little bit. You can clean. It's like a fine point pen. You can go in there and really get good. Clean up flies. There's some flies, for instance, like last week, we tied the Drunken Disorderly. There wasn't really a space for those eyes we put on it. We just glued them on. You can take this tool, burn a little divot in the side of the hair to fill with glue, and then stick your eyes to. Tons of purposes for this, but
Cam wants to know if that thing vibrates while it works, or just takes 2 AA's.
Just 2 AA's. No, I've tried it. No buzzing. No, it's good.
It just gets
dirty can.
Hot.
It just gets really hot.
But maybe it's a cheater tool. But why care? Why care?
This is my little plug here. I don't. You can call me a new fly tire because I am. I'm on this side of like what 5 years max in tying. There's people who've been tying a lot longer than me. They have their ways of doing things because it's the way they learned or the way that was available to them. I am very much more new age in that I'm going to grasp onto anything that makes it better, easier, or whatever. And I'm not going to just take flack for it because it's why not, guys?
You can choose how you want to roll. Like, all due respect to some veterans, but really,
no disrespect at all.
Like, I think it's all about making it functional, fun. And the fish. It's about the fish. So if you got to use a cauterizer to get that deer hair better,
do it.
Yeah. And that's not out of arrogance. That's just out of functionality.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if your thing is to be classic on all your ties, then that's an art form too. We tie to fish is really our thing. So
yeah, that's we're functional. I would call myself a functional tire. I do geek out sometimes and tie some really cool, realistic stuff, but most of the time I just tie for function.
Joel wanted to know where the cauterizing tool was last week for your wound.
That's a good point. Never thought of that. It hurts. You don't want to poke yourself with it.
Mr. Alvarez wants to know where you can pick him up. Ryan said at Michael's. I believe I bought mine online at flymart.ca. Fly shops will have them. I haven't seen them in our fly shops, but
I haven't seen them. I ordered this through West River Fly Shop. It's a hairline product.
Yeah.
Or hairline, maybe not hairline product, but hairline has distributed it.
Yeah.
So that's where I bought mine through.
Ben Armstrong does not want to admit that he also shops at Michael's, so he threw his wife under the bus and said when she's shopping there, I will get her to pick one up for him.
All right.
So Michael's can be your new best friend because there's a lot of stuff that you can get from Michael's that you can use in fly tying, and beads are one of them. So maybe it's your new favorite store when you go to Dairy Queen after 8 and get your ice cream, your cotton candy ice cream, which I'm hoping one shows up in 7 minutes. And then you can go over to Michael's, and I haven't seen them at Michael's, but apparently they're there.
There's a line in the sand there, though, I think, for I would say, with some people go to the extreme of the craft supplies.
Yeah, there's definitely distribution in the fly tying industry that's
for a reason, because it is better.
But there's some stuff you can definitely
beads, foam, things like that.
Yeah, foam is the ticket. Jeremy, I just found out that Nano Silk will cut calf hair. I'm now tying a parachute variant. We don't deserve you guys in your humor because it's just like
we're dry and you are not.
Oh, that is good. I just found
a unicorn. You're tying a unicorn. It's good.
Jacob, only problem with Michael's is the gargantuan quantities.
That is true. And then what do you do with it all? Because you don't need it.
Do beads come on a string? Asking for a friend. You can get
Sometimes.
string. You can get string there too.
You can
if you want.
Different store though if you want it attached already.
Yeah. So all right, back to the fly.
Back
if
to the
you
fly.
haven't,
we're gonna be here all night.
Slice your calf hair in half.
This is supposed to be the easy fly.
Tim is This is what we call a 3-beer fly that Tim is tying. And this wasn't supposed to be a 3-beer fly.
No.
But there it is.
There it is.
Almost done.
Oh, we're getting there. Okay. So we're going to work our way back to where we tied in the tail. Okay. And we want to even out anything that we can. So we know that we want this to be tapered. So we want a little bit more bulk up top and thin out into the tail. Okay. So I'm happy with that. We're going to come back to that tail. Now things get fun. So go ahead and grab your peacock curl. It's really cool actually because you're going to see how this body, so if you get a good look at that, you got a segmented body and you have that big peacock curl up at the head, and both of those products are the same. They're both peacock curl. So we're using them in 2 different ways. If you go into here, into your, I'm just going to grab a few out of my package here. I'm just using, this is just strung curl. You actually need to, we're going to strip one of these. So what that means is I need to take all that shiny bits off. So if this is the butt end of your hurl, okay, I need to run my fingers. So I just use my fingernails together and I pull down. Okay, so you can see it kind of pops up all those hurl. It starts to peel them off. Okay, so the tip is fragile, so don't hold up there. We don't need very much hurl actually, but as you see, I got it all off of my fingers there, and it starts to come off the stem. Okay, so we want to drag our fingers down and clean off that stem. And this can take a little bit to get used to. Lots of times you break your stems because it is fragile, we know that. So that's why I always kind of start down near the bottom or work your way down there quickly. And we want that little bit thicker base anyways for you, so I'm not even gonna come all the way up here and use this top stuff. I want that thicker portion at the rear end, okay? So hopefully that worked pretty smoothly for you. Get rid of that fragile tip. And now I've got a nice long section. You really don't need very much of this to create the body, okay? It doesn't take much. But you don't want to leave any fuzzies on there, so make sure it's good and clean, because it'll change the appearance of the fly. Okay, so now up near the top of it, so the thinner part, I'm just going to go and cut out that top. And now I'm going to come and I'm going to tie this on the near side to myself. I'm just going to tie it in. Make sure that's good and secure. Right where I left that tail, I'll advance my thread. And what I'm going to do is I'm just taking a quick half hitch to save my work, because I'm going to set my bobbin aside and I'm going to wrap this up. Okay, so we want to now have touching wraps or very, very close to it. And that's why I like the white thread down here. So I used white up in the wings so that when I finish off with my hackle, it'll just look white. You're not going to see black or another color coming through. But for the body, I like the white, because when I go like so, I start touching wraps as I go up. If I miss anything, I can see it because it's bright, it's nice and white. So then I need to pull my wrap a little bit closer to itself. Okay? If you don't have a rotary vise, that's fine. Just wrap it around like you would anything else, palmer it up. Once we're past that hook, it's even easier. You can see that makes a really nice segmented looking body. And I'm going to run this right up almost to my wings, just because we are going to come wrap back down over it. But we just want to make sure we got good coverage, okay? So I'm going to bring my thread back. Use hackle pliers if you need to. That was a long piece, so I was able to get away without doing that. I'm going to tie it off.
Polished quill is nice for this. It's already stripped and ready to go.
Whew.
Same with your peccary.
Yeah.
Your pecker.
My peccary. Peccary looks good on this fly too. Okay, enough of that dirty talk. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and
Cam's getting the top dirty fan badge.
Top dirty fan badge. I'm just going to do a couple half hitches. You can continue to tie this with white thread. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to switch over to my
black marker if you want after.
Yeah, totally. I'm just going to switch over to my black thread. Same exact thread, just black.
I always put markers in my fly tying bag or my fly fishing bag, because sometimes I do not like the big white tail on this fly, and so I'll just color it darker and it works.
Yep, absolutely.
But always start with white, because you can change colors to whatever you want.
Yep, that's right.
A lot of people just tie with white thread always.
Yep. I would say the two most common thread colors is olive and white. Olive is pretty much good for anything, and white can be colored to anything. So, yeah, good colors of thread.
A white eraser will strip the peacock. That's a good tip.
I did not know that. Thank you for whoever said that. It's great.
Mike Hawkins.
Mike, thanks for that, buddy.
I believe he's a Norvise tire.
A white eraser. That's good to know. That's awesome. Okay, so what I've done is I've just started my black thread, and I've brought it to about the midway point of the fly. So if you look at the overall hook itself, I'm about in the middle of it, maybe a touch forward. I'm gonna go take another piece of peacock herl. This time we're gonna leave it full. We're not gonna strip it. We're just using one, and we're gonna tie this one in right there. Okay, just tie it in. Make sure it's good and secure. I'm gonna wrap forward to about my wings, and now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start wrapping this Nice touching wraps because we want this to look fairly bushy and not take up a lot of room. So we still need room for our hackle, but I'm gonna over wrap this a little bit because I can always bring my hackle back on top of it. So I'm gonna overdo it a bit. I'm almost gonna go up against those posts. I do still have a little space between them. I'm gonna tie them off. Go ahead and snip out the butt. Okay. That's good, I like that there. Last piece of the puzzle here, guys, we just gotta wrap our hackle. Okay, so, don't knock my cape off the table. So, in your packages, guys, you already got a hackle that's matched to the fly. What I'm gonna do here is, this is just a cape. I'm taking a solid brown cape here. And what I'm gonna do is, without taking the feather initially off of it, I'm just gonna fold it. I'm gonna find one that I think's about right, and I'm gonna check it. So I kind of hold on to the feather, and I'm gonna put it.
Tim, you need a beer?
Yeah, I do, please. I'm gonna put it on my hook, okay? And what I'm looking for is to see that those fibers extend just about to the hook point and maybe a little below. So by folding that on my hook, I can see, yeah, that's about right. It looks like they're coming down to right at my hook tip. You could also take a hackle gauge and measure it, and you can measure that hackle at, this is a size 12. So go ahead and measure for a size 12, but this is a really good way of checking. I want that to extend to about the hook point. So I just check it. And yeah, looks good. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take that one out. Okay, so I got my hackle here. So now prepping hackle is a whole nother ball game. So I want to get rid of all that under fluffy stuff. And the more expensive your hackle, the better it will be as far as consistency down the whole length of it. So maybe you have a huge long one that has the same size of hackle on it. That's really what you're going for. That'll be like a bronze grade or a pro grade cape. This one, so I'll take it again. I'll just double check it so you can see it a little better. Yeah, it looks good. Those fibers look like they're right at perfect length. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just snip out a chunk of that stem. I'm gonna pull off a little bit extra. So depending on which way you wrap, so I know I'm gonna take it and wrap it in front of myself, like so. So I'm gonna take and pull off a few feathers on that side. So if you look at this now, you can see that I have a few pulled off on that side. Reason being, when I wrap it forward, it's gonna first go onto that side. It'll initially start to give fibers released right away and not trap any. I wanna tie this in so that the concave fibers are pointed rearward. So you have it this direction or this direction. We want those fibers to point rearward, so that's the direction I'm gonna tie it in. So I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna set it just in front of that peacock curl, and I'm gonna tie that feather in. Really secure it really well. Push some wraps up onto that peacock a little bit just to secure it. Now you can see that butt is hanging out right there. You can see it there. I'm gonna take that butt and I'm gonna pull it forward if I can and try to gather a few wraps around it in front of my post as well. Just because I wanna secure it the best that I can. And then go ahead and trim out whatever you have remaining of that butt. Big key here is you want that butt secured. Just like so. Okay, now same thing. We're about to wrap the hackle. It's the last piece of the puzzle. I'm gonna save my work. So that little half hitch I just showed you, you can use a tool. So I've showed you this in the past where you set a tool on here, you wrap around it once or twice and then put it over the eye. This is a really easy way of doing it with just your finger. So I take my finger, I lay it down on there, I wrap the thread around it once, and all I do is I stick my finger on that hook point and I allow that thread to work down. Boom. Saved your work, okay? So now we're gonna wrap this hackle. So I told you which direction I was gonna go, that's why I tied it in that way. I am gonna grab my hackle pliers this time. Now we wanna get a good amount of fibers behind the wing, and then we're gonna transfer in front of it and do the same. So I start wrapping, keeping it right up against that peacock curl, and you want your wraps to be touching just ahead of the next one. Don't want to wrap over top of itself. Now I'm going to transfer that to in front. Whoop.
Now Rick thinks he should trim his butt. Well, Rick, the hair care waxing places have been closed for a couple months, so
Yeah.
I believe next week the good news is they will be open,
Yeah.
and you
I
can
don't know
take
if
your butt
Brazilians
in
are on
and
the
get
menu,
it.
but-
You get your butt trimmed. You
And
take
bleached.
care of that. Nobody
All right,
likes
that's too
tying
much.
flies with an untrimmed butt.
No. We like that white thread. Okay. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to tie off that hackle right at the eye so I can leave my hackle pliers laying there.
That might be the best H&L variant you've ever tied.
You might be right.
I'm factual. Like you do well under pressure.
I like it.
How come it's not the same when you're guiding me on Friday?
Oh, come on now. You guys all voted and made me row the boat for him. I did a good job.
I didn't catch a fish out of the boat,
I didn't either.
did we?
We were out of the boat.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So I've secured that
Rick's
hackle.
gonna save his trimmed butt for materials. It's kind of like a marabou.
Like a marabou.
Like a marabou.
So I went in and I trimmed that out. I didn't do it before I made sure that hackle was severely locked in there. Now what I'm going to do is I like to use the half hitch tool on dries because as I go in, I can use that tip to push some of those fibers back away from the eye and not trap them. So yes, you can absolutely whip finish this. I just prefer to do it this way because I can go in there, push some of those fibers rearward, lock it in. Okay? 1, 2, and lock it in.
Would you look at that?
I mean, you might be right. This might be the best one I've ever tied.
Bo Gwynn says they're wanting to tie their own flies, and this is very informational. So yeah, we do this every Thursday. We're on episode 22 of the season.
Yep.
Usually we start in October-ish, and we go till about now. We might be extended a little bit this year just due to all things indoor. Any fish caught on the Drunken Disorderly? I will let Tim talk about that in 2 minutes.
All right,
Are you
guys.
finished?
Yeah, that's it. That's a whip finish and done. So as you can see, I can see a few fibers that I don't like. Very, very minor. So I'll point to this one here. So you can see right where my scissor pointed. I'm trying to get my handle away. You can see that little fiber there. You're going to have those. You're going to have those hackle fibers that don't agree. So just go in there. Try not to get at any other ones. Just go in and trim it out. Okay? And I actually don't see any other ones I don't like. I see a couple, though, up by the eye that have crowded a little bit. So I'm just going to go in there and touch them with my cautery tool. Because nobody likes an eye that they can't get their hair into.
Their hair too. Well, Tim's not even a full beard deep, folks.
That's
and
not what I meant to
and
say.
he's making up words.
Nobody likes that eye of a hook. You
Then
can't
you-
your I can't even think now. You got me confused.
Yeah. Nobody likes a
You're
crowded
typical.
eye.
That's what I meant to say.
There. I will take care of you. So what we need to do, folks, is we need to see we've hired a third person for the show. And when your fly is
Perfect.
done, we need to see if they approve. They're going to come in and clean up and check it out. So
There it is. Come on, buddy. Get in here and check it out.
All right.
Oh, there he is.
there he comes.
His name's Phil. Hey, Phil.
Phil, is this a good fly? Is this a
Do
good
you
tie?
like it? Let us know.
It's a bit of
What
a
do you
mess,
think?
Bob. I
Yeah,
like it. He likes it.
All right.
Phil likes it. You
ya,
did
Phil.
well.
Take care.
All right, we'll see you on the
Good
next
man.
one, Phil. And now we are out of control.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I like him. He comes around every so often.
Yes, that's Phil. That's fly tire, fly cleaner Phil. So a
Trying to keep the locals employed.
question here. Dave Cross asks if we post it on our site or can you view it later. So if you check out our YouTube channel, Fly Fishing Board Outfitters, I don't know if there's a website address for it, but if you just go to YouTube and type in that, our our channel will pop up. All the last 2 seasons are in there, and this one will be there first thing in the morning once it uploads. Also on our website, flyfishingbowever.com/season 2 is most of this year. I haven't put them all up there yet. But yeah, we record them, we put them on YouTube, our website. So you can go back and tie. We've probably done 22, 20, or 40 some episodes. So it's probably
a lot of
80 some flies.
What is this, 22 today?
Yeah.
22 episodes this year.
Bo Gwynn, we're out of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. We guide Fly Fishing Bow River Outfitters. We guide Southern Alberta, mostly on the Bow River, but we do all the mountain streams in the area. Somebody wants the tail to be pointed up a bit. You could do that. You just got to wrap a little thread under the butt.
So all you do is lift the butts, wrap some thread under it, lift it
That
up.
works for you. So the thing with the H&L Variant is it's a mayfly-ish imitation, but it's really good in rough water because it stays afloat. And Tim's drunk again. And you can see it. It is a classic. It's not one of my favorites.
Not one of your favorites?
I have a bunch in my fly box. I find them big. I find they ride high. Maybe the fish are changing their opinions on a classic dry fly. What do you guys thought? Do you fish this lots? Is it good in your area? I don't know. Maybe I should use them more.
It's a good like brown drake imitation, especially on the bigger ties. That segmentation looks good, but what if you had one of the classics? What's your favorite?
Classic favorite would be a Parachute Adams.
Parachute Adams, yeah. Oh, it's probably one of the best dries ever tied, to be honest.
If I'm just going out to like a new section of the water, I'd probably chuck one of these. I mean, it's kind of
if you're going to new water you've never fished, you also know that the Adams is going to work. Right?
Yeah,
like
well, and even this, you can fish a dropper under it.
Yeah,
it's
it
got
does ride high.
Foam-like characteristics. You could use a bigger hackle and even have a more proud fly.
Yeah.
It could get hit like a hopper because it does stick out so much. Yeah, it's a classic. So back to the questions. Where are you guys from? If you're just joining us, it's Thursday night and we are live tying flies, drinking beer, and telling lies. And no, I have not done 2 lies and a truth.
You haven't told us, yeah.
I know.
Get
I know.
to it.
I'm still thinking. So, and if you did get here in time to see Phil clean up the tying bench, Phil approved.
Was Phil approved? It's all
Phil
matters.
approved of that tie, so that's good. Bo, we appreciate it. Y'all got my business when I make it up. We appreciate it. Yes, we do. We would love to have all you guys up here and hang out with us. And if it's not even for a fishing trip, we'd love to have you guys up in the off season and just hang out with us, tying flies. Normally we do this at a brewery in Calgary. So if you come here off season, whatever, definitely come check it out. We'd love to meet all you guys as we continue doing this and we're in this isolation period. We get to meet new friends. And so there's a lot of people in here who we've met in person, a lot of people who we have not met in person. And Royal Wolf, Mike Hawkins, that's a classic. Yeah.
I think Royal Coachman might be one of mine too. I feel like that's one you can take anywhere.
This is Yvonne says this is good on the Au Sable in New York and not to be mixed up with the Au Sable in Michigan. Are you really booked? Are you guys usually booked up most of the summer? So the answer to that is yes. This year's interestingly different. So we're still booked. We've actually only had 2 cancellations, 2 single-day cancellations so far.
Really impressive.
We've had a lot of conversations with people about what's going to happen, so we might. It's a fluid situation, but yeah, we were booked. We still have openings. We only run 5 guides out of our Fly Fishing Bow River Outfitters. Once we're all 5 booked, that's it. We don't go into the old guide pool in Calgary. But yeah, so if you do make it up here, we would appreciate. We would love to have you guys out on the water. Get to show you some of our favorite spots and hopefully favorite fish if they're all cooperating. And if nothing else, we'll have a fantastic day. And then we'll head back to the Bow River Brewing. So bright.
It is bright. Oh, that's better.
It's bright. It's bright.
That's the one.
Yeah, so here we are. Tim ties the flies, and I hang out with you guys.
You tell the lies, except you haven't yet.
Cool. So John heard Visolation. That's exactly what we're calling this. So usually we segment the months in the season. We have Mountain March. We have a Saltwater Month. We have a Bow River Essentials. And now we're in Visolation. So what type of fish y'all fishing for? Brown trout, rainbow trout, bull trout, cutthroat trout, brook trout, Arctic grayling.
Come on, you're missing the most important one.
Whitefish.
Whitefish.
Rocky Mountain whitefish. Okay, I don't want to give away all my secrets.
Oh yeah, can't give them all away.
If Marcus is still in here, he had tied up a box of whitefish leeches today. We do have pike opens tomorrow or Saturday?
Friday. Well, ES, or was it Prairie 2? I can't remember which one it is. Opens tomorrow.
Tomorrow or Saturday, I don't know. I lost track of days. Okay, Mark, cheers, buddy. He's completely spent. He tied an H&L and he's going to bed.
Awesome.
Rainbows, but looking for others in Jersey. Yes, John's been on my boat and he has fished the magnificent red wire worm. And he might have thought it was a joke at the start of the day, but
Yeah, it works.
Colin Becker also was in my boat and he's seen all species. I don't think you've caught a whitefish because it's always been dry fly fishing when you've been there. But yeah, he got himself a bull. So Bow River Bonefish, Rocky Mountain, the RMWs. That's the magic.
That's the magic.
Okay, cool. So now we got to get to the next fly because that's the big one.
It's
The next
big one.
thread that we're going to be using, because James, did you get a hold of Stephen Lyle? Where's Stephen
Where's
Lyle?
Mrs. Lyle?
Where's Mrs. Lyle? Okay, so it's a streamer. I'm
Yep.
going to go with like a 140 or a something bigger. You're going to go bigger?
I'm going 140 today.
Should Tim go bigger? How about you tie this with a 60 or a 8-aught?
No, I'm good.
Do it.
No.
Do you think Tim can tie this?
Shut up, Dana. Shut up.
Nancy Dutchick just joined in. She was my grade 10 social teacher.
What?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes. And she's good friends with Nate and Rob.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And she was a teacher in Cochrane. So, Nancy, welcome. She's a huge fly fishing phenom, I believe. I follow her on Facebook, and I see a lot of beautiful fish. So, okay. So, what's happening next, folks, is we're actually getting into the 3-beer fly.
This is the 3-beer fly.
So, if this is the time that you have to go take a pee, if this is the time that you have to go put the kids to bed, if you have kids and if they're already in, why would you put them to bed? They don't have school. They don't have to go to school tomorrow. A pee break. I don't know if Scott Bergey's still here, but he had to poop break last time.
It's true, he did.
And what Tim's going to do is get the next fly loaded up into the vise just to show you guys what it should look like if all things go well.
Go well.
And if they don't, Cam will send us a picture.
There will be no head. It'll just be Dumbo eyes.
Electrocuted mouse.
Unreal.
Yeah, so, or if you got to go smoke a bowl, you do what you got to do to get ready for the next fly, known as the Galloups Boogeyman, one of my favorite streamer patterns.
Yeah, it's a good one.
All right. Speaking of the pee breaks, it's all you, Timothy.
All right. It's all me. It's our Boogeyman. So this streamer, pros and cons. Super wide profile in the back. We got mallard flank up there to design that. It can be, if you don't tie it properly, it can be a tough fly to get down because if you leave too much, this is actually wool. So if you leave too much wool up at the top, you're actually going to struggle to get that fly down. So there's a lot of different streamer patterns that have different purposes. But this one, if you fish it on an unweighted leader, it's going to stay fairly high in the water column. But they just look great. They're not like last week with the Drunken Disorderly, or let's say even like a Sex Dungeon where they're darting and diving as much. This is more like a dive, okay? That we're trying to create a profile out of this head that's fairly bulky on top to kind of fan into that nice wide mallard flank that goes over the rest of the body, okay? It is articulated, so it is gonna give a nice swim in the back end. Really good fly, lots of great purposes. You can tie it in a variety of sizes. You can tie this as a mini. You can tie it as a super large, like bull trout size fly. You can even add an extra articulation if you're going super big for a bull trout fly. Today we're tying a medium size, so this is gonna end up being an overall length of somewhere between 3 and 5 inches. So really good trout streamer size, and yeah, love this one. Okay, so let's get it started. So what I'm going to start with for a hook in the back end, I'm going to put a Gamakatsu B10S Stinger as my back hook, and then I'm going to use a standard streamer hook, just a standard long shank streamer hook up at the head. Okay, so I like the Stinger hook in the back. I think it's just a little nicer hook, but that's just my opinion. So let's go ahead, let's get that rear hook stuck in the back here. This fly is a lot easier than the Drunken Disorderly, which we did last week, because it actually makes sense. It sequentially does the same thing in the back end as it does in the front, which makes it a lot easier, okay? I'm using a 140 in olive today, okay? So let's go ahead and we'll start that thread right up at the eye. We're just gonna put a nice thread base down all the way back into the bend. Make sure you got good coverage. Okay, we're gonna leave that right before you tip off the bend in the back end. Our first material is gonna be a piece of marabou. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab, this is just strung marabou. I'm gonna grab a nice plume. Pull it out of the stack if I can here.
River fishing or lakes? We fish rivers, but yes, it will definitely...
This would be a great bass fly, pike fly probably
Yeah.
even too. It's not huge, but... Okay, so I got my plume of marabou.
We are starting on the back of the fly.
This is the back end of the fly, yep. So I'm just wet my fingers a little bit. So if I stroke this back, you can see it gives you a nice way of measuring the overall length. So I'm gonna go just over a full length of that back hook. So I'm going like 1.5, okay? Transfer that to the back, because we like that nice tail dancing at the back. So we like a little extra back there. Some junk in the trunk. Gonna go ahead and gather that with a gathering wrap, get it pinched down, and now I'm just gonna wrap forward over the marabou, okay? So we're gonna just build a nice little bit of a bulk. We're gonna leave some space up at the eye. We don't wanna go all the way to the eye. We'll snip that out.
Scott Bergey's back. I wonder if he's still taking a poop break.
Ooh, let us know, Scott. I'm interested.
He did not last through the entire Drunken Disorderly.
Well, I thought he said it was just a fart.
That's concerning.
Okay, so we'll come back to the back end again. So in your bags, you guys have a little bit of, it's like a super thin flash. I'm just gonna grab some of it here. We're gonna put just a little bit of extra flash in the back end. So all I'm doing is I'm gonna fold it over my thread. This is super long, but we're gonna trim it. Fold it over my thread, bring it down on top. Just work it back. So it's gonna lay up on top of that marabou. Okay, now keeping a good hold of it, I'm gonna go ahead and trim it right around the length of the end of the marabou. And I can kind of pinch it around so it goes around the edge of the fly. Get a little bit of flash in there. Now, next material we're gonna put in. This fly is tied with schlappen. So where's my fly?
Schlappen?
Schlappen go.
Schlappen.
So this is what schlappen looks like. It's great. You could do this with what do they call that? saddle hackle as well. I like schlappen. It's a little bit broader. You're getting longer fibers out of it. So you're gonna go in and select one, pull it out. What we're gonna do is we're gonna tie it in tip first.
Ben's just catching up. His kids asked for a popsicle,
Okay,
so
no
he had to
worries.
make him an ice cube with a toothpick. I hope you sprinkled some granulated sugar on that.
Yes.
Give him a little bit of a kick.
So all I've done is I've exposed the very tip. I'm gonna lay that on top. So again, I want the fibers to point rearward. So on that concave side, I want them to point rearward. So it's important that I tie it in that way. So I come in, just gonna set it on top, just like so. Take a gathering wrap, wrap down a little bit, just make sure those butts are down. And I'm gonna go ahead and snip out that tip. Now we're just gonna let that dance back there, just keep it out of the way. Now you're gonna go to whatever type of cactus chenille material that you have. This is regular tie with just like this, a large cactus chenille. It's got a little extra shine and bulk in it. You don't want to use just a regular chenille. You could, but we like that extra flash in there. We're just gonna go ahead and tie that in right where we left off with that schlappen. Make sure we get some thread wraps back to that schlappen, and then just wrap forward. Cover up that butt a little bit. Advance ourselves forward to that eye. Just gonna save my work. Get it out of the way. So what we're gonna do is we're first gonna wrap forward our chenille, and then we're gonna wrap our schlappen over top. And if you're thinking to yourself right now, well, this seems a lot like a woolly bugger, that's exactly right. That's the same style, same thing we do on a sex dungeon. We're gonna do an under chenille, and we're gonna go over top of it with some type of hackle. Okay? So I'm gonna start by going with this. I'm gonna wrap it forward. Leave a little bit of space behind the eye. Don't worry if you crowd it a little bit. We can always run thread wraps back over top of it. I just want to make sure that's locked down good. Not going to go anywhere. I'll go in and trim it out. You can brush it up a little bit if you want to. Just get in there and make sure nothing's trapped.
Neighbor Jim is wondering, or I assume he's wondering, because he said schlappen ?
Schlappen. So these
It's a
are
feather.
What are they?
I don't know. Maybe we can pause for a second and give neighbor Jim some time to elaborate.
Let us know. What's the question? If you're wondering what it is. So we got schlappen. Sorry, I'll show this here. So I don't exactly know where this is from, but this is
It's not from a deer.
It's not from a deer. I believe it's from. I know what it's from. I just don't know where in the body of a chicken it comes from. It's not. The purpose of this is to have nice long fibers. So when you pull these down, you got these nice wide feathers versus like an actual dry fly hackle or something like that, which you're aiming to get super small. Maybe someone can educate us and let us know exactly where they're from on a chicken. Like I said, I'm a functional tire. I'm not really caring where it came from. I was caring what I do with
Yeah,
it.
so I think you got going quick, which happens because you got an Orvice. And
It's all right,
neighbor
my bad.
Jim is
Struggling.
probably still has
But he has an Orvice
calf tail.
too.
That you also have to know how to like drive the race car.
That's true. That's
So-
true.
The thing that I'm worried about is he probably still has calf tail in his hand.
He probably does.
He was stuck at the last pause that we did. So Dennis says, hey guys, just tuning in. I'm a novice. Do these flies work well in the Bow River? Absolutely. This
buddy.
streamer is deadly, and I bet you in the next couple weeks,
It will fish
I would-
well.
I would bet you a 6-pack of beer if you know where to fish that this streamer will work well. Cam, remember last year when we floated with Troy and we used this streamer and it was good. Schlappen is from the ace of the chicken.
The ace.
The ace.
All right.
Yeah, they look like ace feathers.
Yeah. Ace feathers.
I was just gonna say that. Any other questions? If you guys are just tuning in, we're tying up Galloups Boogeyman. Galloups Boogeyman.
The boogeyman.
And we're tying it in olive. And so if you guys have caught up, give me a thumbs up. Let's play Two Truths and a Lie.
Yeah, we've been waiting on you all day.
Okay. Let's do geography. Dana's geography. Do we have wire in it yet? So I don't know if we're going to actually put the wire.
Yeah, leave the wire out, guys. It's in your bags, but we're not using it.
You have the option to save your schlappen with wire, but we ixnayed it. So thanks to Tim for making me package it all and then not using it. So anyways, a little bit of an audible at the line of scrimmage.
We just put it in there so at the end you'd be wondering where it was supposed to go.
Okay, 2 truths and a lie. And it's geography. I have lived in 3 cities, and 2 of them are truths, and 1 of them is a lie. Just reply in the comments, and we'll give you some time so you don't get behind on the fly. I have lived in Las Vegas. I have lived in Providence, Rhode Island. And I have lived in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So tell me which one of those 3 is not true and put it down there and let me see if you're right. That's the geography version. See, I have to have something to do with you guys because Tim has got his flies and whatever. So yeah, we're going to head back to the fly. And tell me in a geographical sense, 2 truths and a lie. Vegas is a lie. Las Vegas is a lie. John says Providence is a lie. Bo Gwyn says Providence is a lie. You can keep tying. I'm just gonna. It just gives me something to do. Actually,
okay,
this is selfish.
All right, guys.
Number 3 is a lie. I don't know what number 3 is. Cam, you could please put the.
Okay, guys. So we'll let him answer you and let you know when you're right or wrong. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna come forward to the schlappen. So we're just gonna wrap it forward. We want to keep pulling those fibers somewhat rearward as we go. So even moisten your fingertips a little bit as long as you've washed your hands. And we're just gonna work that forward. Okay, so we're just kind of doing an open spiral. We're not trying to get super close, as you can tell. Just laying down a nice amount of material. We get up near the head here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my thread back and I'm going to tie it off right there. Okay, a couple wraps behind, a couple wraps in front, a couple to secure, and then I'll just go in there and I'll trim out that stem. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all those materials back like so. So they're out of the way, and I'm just going to lay down some nice bit of thread right here. Just want to create a little platform for the last material we put on here. Just like that. Okay? And sometimes some of those fibers can get a little trapped, but that wrapped pretty good. You can always comb them. Just make sure. Those ones look like they went really well. So you can just imagine the profile that this creates because these fibers are really tall. They're not super stiff, so they do move in the water, but they are a lot taller than, let's say, like just a regular like woolly bugger style hackle that you would use. So then the last material that we use on this fly, if I can find what I did with it. Hopefully I didn't stick them in here.
Carl Wong says that he's starting to think that this whole fly fishing thing is a lie. I think he...
Do tell.
I think he had a bad day on the bow.
Did you have a bad day, Carl? Hopefully not. So the last material that we're using tonight, not tonight. I don't know what I'm talking about. Last material.
All right. Does someone have water?
Yeah.
We need to get this guy some water. Sleeping on the couch.
So we have mallard flank. We used it last week and we're going to use it again this week. Okay, so we got this nice barred mallard flank. This stuff is, you can kind of get it in bulk packs. Pretty awesome. Mallard barred. That's shiny. Shiny! There we go. Mallard barred flank. What we're going to do is we're going to tie it so that you can see that nice barred top to it, right? So it kind of gives that mottled look to the fly. And it also just creates a profile. So we now have this nice wide profile on top of the back. So when a fish is looking up, sees that nice wide profile. No matter what's happening underneath that, you have that nice profile, okay?
Rick wants to know if it's weird that he uses the same comb for his beard as he does the flies.
No, not even remotely.
Why buy two?
Yeah, save your money.
Yep.
For like something else important.
Yep. More materials.
more fly
and more
time to do it.
beer.
So all I'm going to do is I'm going to switch hands. I'm going to grip it like so. I'm going to take some thread wraps over that stem. Now these stems, sometimes stems can be quite fragile. The stem on this is actually quite sturdy. I'm going to fold that tip up, take a couple wraps in front of it, bring it back down, and then I'll just go in and I'll snip out that butt. You don't have to worry a lot about crowding this eye because we are going to put wire through it. So it's not super critical. You're not going to be putting your tippet through it anyways. So all we're going to do is go in and we're going to whip finish this right here. Okay. Did a good whip finish. I suggest you go in and put some type of resin on it. I'm going to go in with just some clear flow UV resin. Just going to touch it.
Hey, I just want to know, are we almost halfway through this fly? Because I want the halftime show.
We are halfway through this fly, Dana.
All right, well.
Everybody's been waiting for her. There she is.
Well, you put on the resin. I'll give the people what they want. The halftime show.
A lot better dancer than you.
I agree.
See you later. All right. That's the back end, my friends. I'm going to leave that in my vise for a second because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab that piece of connection wire that you have in your bag. I'm going to use a little bit more of my bead wire. And we are going to grab a piece of it here. Whoop. Dropping stuff. You don't need a very long piece of it. You just need a few inches, probably 4 inches of it, as I unspool this whole thing.
Oh, Scott's got a poop.
Uh-oh.
Or fart. He doesn't know again. Scott, I hopefully...
IBS much?
Depends is sponsoring you and your fly tying ventures.
He's reaching out for some unique sponsorships.
Yes. The new name for our halftime show is Resin Girl. Whenever you apply resin,
Yep.
she does a dance.
Just a little dab and a cure.
I can't wait to see Phil again,
Yeah.
whether he approves or not.
Yeah, can't wait for Phil. Okay, so I got my bit of bead wire here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go and put it through the eye of the hook. Now that I really cured the hole full of glue. There we go. I'm going to slide that through there. You're going to have a couple of beads in your bag as well. And if you don't, because you're at home and you don't have a bag, we're just using a couple of craft beads or beads of some kind. We're going to slide both beads on both pieces of wire. So they come back like so. Ooh. I'm going to go with 2 beads. Reasoning for this is it makes a nice connection. You can add some color. So today I'm going to use some red ones. So you've got a nice color for connecting, as well as it helps with the hook fouling on the front hook. Okay? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that like so, and I'm going to pop it out and set it aside, and hopefully your beads don't just go crazy and go wild.
Options, you can use backing, you can use floral,
Yep.
you can use... I think you can actually buy wire that's designed for this purpose.
Like intruder wire is meant for this type of
Intruder
thing.
wire.
So
Backing works really well. How do you determine size and number of beads? Well, Jeremy, I think you opened a can of worms, and I will let the audience take care of that.
yeah.
It's up to you. 2 to 3 is pretty common. I have 2 beads in my bag. See, now it's going to open up the can of worms. So, yeah, I mean, if you want your, I don't know, what would it be? Your thorax, your body to be longer, then add more beads. It's just a preference thing. Sometimes you definitely just want those 2 hooks to stay away from each other, which is why the beads
Probably the
work.
biggest thing, yeah.
But how you determine size and number of beads is completely up to you. Whatever's
Not touching that
here
with
we
a
go.
10-foot
Come on.
All right, back to the fly.
I'm pausing for you guys.
Okay, no, you guys got to speed up because
Rick
these pause
says
techniques are not good.
Whatever's comfortable. Carl says whatever will fit.
That's whatever's comfortable.
Hey, We do not want you guys to do something that would make you feel uncomfortable.
Or make Tim, the paramedic, have to come to your house because things will get awkward.
Yes. He will bring his resin and we'll have to get Resin Girl out.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Okay.
Are you caught up, please?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, going to the front. So I've got my little bit longer shanked streamer hook here. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to start my thread right behind the eye. I'll cut out that tag, and I'm just going to lay a nice thread base all the way down the fly. Okay? So go ahead, just start wrapping rearward. Just lay a nice thread base down. Deep into that bend. Just want to get right up on top to there. Once we've got a good solid piece on there, we're going to go... Actually, let's come back up to the head first. We'll put our eyes on.
If any of you guys are musicians and would like us to play your music on Thursday Night Live,
Absolutely.
Send me the SoundCloud, send me whatever, because we cannot play mainstream music or we will get booted.
Yeah. So it'd be awesome actually to have some music that is of you guys.
Yep.
Something better than Dana's harmonica and guitar.
I forgot the harmonica.
I know, I'm wondering where it is.
Okay, so let's get back to two truths and a lie.
Yes.
The question was geographically, where have I lived? Two truths and one lie. And the options were Vegas, Providence, Rhode Island, and Green Bay, Wisconsin. The lie is, do you know this?
I do. Green Bay.
Green Bay, Wisconsin. I played hockey in Las Vegas for a year. I played hockey in Providence, Rhode Island for a year. I've never been to Green Bay, and I've never lived in Green Bay. I've lived in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I've lived in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I've lived in Salt Lake City, Utah, all playing hockey. But I've never been to Green Bay, and I've never lived there. So for those, I think only like 2 or 3 people got it right.
Everybody thought it was the other, Las Vegas. Yeah. But yeah, you lived there and played.
Yep, we were the originals. So back to the fly.
All right, guys. Let's. You got a set of dumbbell eyes in there. So you got a nice pair painted, or you could just use lead eyes. I prefer to have something with an eye on it. Makes it look a lot nicer. So let's go ahead and we will attach those on. So similar to the wing that we put on earlier, we're gonna come in with it placed like so. I can take. Oh, look at this. Look at my thumb. You got like pieces of skin or whatever. If you tie a lot, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Any little what do you like? I don't even want to call it a burr on your thumb. It'll just grab your thread every time.
Sounds like tough.
It's tough life.
And the nail salons are closed.
I know. What am I gonna do?
You just battle through.
I'll battle.
How about you get out the cauterizer and burn some off?
I should actually. So all I'm doing here, guys, is I'm taking a couple wraps in each direction. So dumbbell eyes have this perfectly little divot, obviously, so that you can wrap and secure them on. So I'm going back one way to the other. These things are going to spin around a bunch on me. There isn't an exact science to this. People go to the figure 8 quite often. So a figure 8 looks like so. Come like this. We won't do it upside down. This is weird. Figure 8.
I've never played the harmonica. It was a question. I mean, I've played it, but not one to...
I hear
I'm gonna have to get one.
Yeah, the harmonica.
I will find a harmonica for next Thursday.
That'd be good.
Okay, so you got your bead eyes, your lead eyeballs, and talk about up or down.
Up or down. So this is simple, actually. Whichever side that they remain on, and I'm just gonna keep taking wraps here as I go because I really want to get this nice and secure. Whichever side of the hook that they're on is the way the hook will ride in the water. So if I left the hooks on top like they are right now, then this fly in the water would do this. It would sit with the hook point up. So like for instance, a clouds or minnow we tie this way. We leave the eyes up top. When you're fishing it, the hook point stays up. Advantages to that is if you're fishing deep in the water column, you're not going to snag up on everything. It can be not weedless, but it definitely keeps you off a lot of other things. This fly, we are actually going to turn those eyes over and put them on the bottom. And that's going to mean that it's going to ride with the hook point down. So I'm going to take, and all you got to do is just take them and spin them. And they'll spin onto the bottom. And we'll take some more wraps down here. Get it good and secure. Biggest thing is you want the eyes to be, not turn one direction or the other, as far as not too far forward. So I bent those so you can see now this eye is pointed rearward. We don't want that. We just want them to be even. Okay, so secure them so that they're fairly even. Once you like where they are, I'm just going to go in with just a little bit of resin again. I'm just going to touch all those thread wraps that are where they attach to the hook. So that would be right here. Just going to make sure that that doesn't move anywhere on me.
Jason asked if we ever tried the spoons. Can you elaborate on that?
The spoons?
Spoons. Oh, I think harmonica and spoons.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yes, also tried the spoons.
The
College parties.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was like the center of attention.
I bet you were.
No, I wasn't. That was not cool. I wasn't cool.
You weren't cool enough for spoons?
Probably still not cool.
Okay.
And Cam crowded the head. Burn it.
Classic Cam.
Hey,
Cut
Cam,
it off. Start over.
So let's consider this, okay? Let's think about this. The cauterize is a stage 1. A lighter is a stage 2. A blowtorch is a stage 5. I think you need to take a blowtorch to that fly and get that head unclogged or uncrowded, and then continue the fly again. And send us pictures because we love posting your photos. Where's the... Did you put resin on?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, put it again.
Why? You missed
The
it?
resin girl needs to come out.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, let's do it. A little bit
Kim
more
is
resin.
like all over this. Okay.
you can't have enough resin. Here we
put
go.
some more resin.
Right there.
Okay, here we go. Resin girl is coming to the party.
There she is.
There she is.
No, don't go yet. We gotta light her up.
Oh, she's not good.
This way.
Oh,
There she goes.
You don't have a lot of time.
No, she's quick. Slow her down.
Oh, man.
Good catch. Good catch.
Sorry, Kim. We screwed up. Resin girl was getting a fresh beer.
Yeah.
And we got her back.
Okay, guys.
Carry on.
Next piece. We are now going to go pick up that back portion of the fly that we already tied. We're going to take our thread. Let's work our thread back almost to that bend or pretty close to it. Now we're going to get this so that we want that mallard flank to always point up. Okay, so we're going to rearrange this so that it does. So you can see these beads are not going to cooperate. They're going to push up. But what I can do is I can take a couple wraps here, pinch it, wrap it a few times, like 4 or 5 times. And now I can still slide. I can pull on that wire and slide it up. So I just want those beads to be right about there. I'm going to work this back just a little bit so I get a better view of where they're actually sitting. So I want just a little bit more of a loop. So there you go. You can see a little bit of a loop. So I like to have a loop that's at least the size of the bead. So you can see the 2 beads here. I'm going to go at least a loop the size of one of those beads. Okay? And that's
A bead-sized loop.
Bead-sized loop. Boom, boom.
Wow. Why didn't you say so?
I know, it's crazy. It's a good thing you're catching me. So from here, guys, we're just going to go and we're going to lay down a ton of thread wraps. We're going to get this so that it's nice and secure. So go ahead, wrap up, just lay a ton of thread wraps down on top of this so that wire's not going to go anywhere. I'm going to take and fold that wire back over top. Wrap again, do the same thing. And with that wrap like that, that's not going anywhere. That's good. And then we can just go in and we'll cut out that extra wire. I don't suggest using your scissors. That's why I like to just carry a small pair of pliers. But if you do, what you want to do is you want to cut it. I'll show you here on this piece. This piece of wire here. If I'm going to cut it with wire, I want to go deep as I can into that bend of the hook. And then cut.
Oof.
Okay, so you don't want to. You want to stay away from your tips because that's where you cut things like in a finite motion. That's where you're cutting with those.
So a good point Jason brought up is he would like to see something a beginner can tie, and he'll try to get materials for next week if we're doing another one. We are doing another one. I was thinking maybe we throwed Ren. Yeah, we've already got the next 2 weeks planned out because that's all we have planned left.
Yeah.
But
That's a great idea. We can definitely
we
do some.
have something off the cuff. A Tim versus Dana duo.
Whew.
And it might get dirty.
Don't make me
We
run the
might need
computer.
Clorox on our vices when we're done.
Oh, man. We will.
And that one is for beginners.
What do you plan on doing with your vice?
Tying up something dirty.
Okay.
So, Jason, yes, we do post the materials on Monday on our Facebook page. These streamers, they do seem complex, but this is the basics of fly tying. It is basically two buggers put together with mallard flank on it, and they're attached. So if you do rewatch this and grab the materials, this is a very simple streamer. The head gets a little complex, but I mean, you could just wrap chenille around it too if you wanted.
Mm-hmm. You totally could.
Ooh, Ben wants to tie a bunch of... Ben, you read my mind.
What do you say?
We should tie a bunch of San Juan worms, browns and reds.
Oof,
we
wow.
did a worm night. We
did.
tied 6 different worms.
Yep.
Episode...
Somewhere in the middle.
14,
14, 15? I don't even remember.
Sorry, Dennis, you did comment earlier, and I completely did not respond. He lives near McKinnon Flats, and he gets skunked all the time. McKinnon's Flats, the actual flats, that stretch of half a mile of river, yes, streamers, perfect. That is swinging water in there. It's a great place to fish, all the way down to Carsland. There's fish. There's a lot of fish in there. The Bow River can be tricky and finicky, so don't get hard on yourself.
Fickle mistress.
You're a fickle mistress. Okay, so back to...
All right.
I haven't heard from Jim. He might have fallen asleep.
Still holding his calf tail.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back and grab a little bit more of that flash material. This stuff that you have in your bags is kind of interesting stuff here, but it's like a little, kind of like a little Flashaboo. And we're going to go and just put a little bit on, just a couple of strands. So I'm going to go fold it around my thread again. And I'm going to start winding it rearward back to where I kind of left that wire. And now I'm going to snip this off. I don't want it to extend too far, just a little bit into that mallard flank. Okay? So make sure you don't leave it too long. I can use my thumb to kind of push it on either side of the hook. So that's going to sit right in there. And now we're just going to repeat the process that we did in the back end, except we're not going to put the marabou at the back. Okay? So exactly like we did at the last one, just no marabou. So I'm going to go back to my schlappen again. I'm going to grab a schlappen feather. I'm going to pull the fibers back at the tip, making sure that those fibers are pointed rearward. I'm going to lay it on top. Secure it down, and then I can, once I know it's secured, I can go in and trim out that tip. I can lay some thread wraps down over top of those fibers. It's fine. That is the fun part about streamer tying, guys, is it's not an exact science at all. So having a little bit of junk like this on a dry fly would be a big deal. On this stuff, it's not. It just adds into the pattern. So I'm going to go back now to that cactus chenille that we had. Okay. And I'm going to try to tie in that kind of that under, you can see it has that, the cord that runs through it. That's what we're going to tie in. So I'm going to come in here, tie that down, advance my thread.
Neighbor Jim is still here, but it's getting late. It's 9 o'clock.
We'll wrap it up for you, buddy.
We don't want to wrap anything up. We just want to crack another beer.
We're wrapping. So all I've done is I advance my thread forward to behind the eye. All I'm doing is just doing a little half hitch. Going to save my work. I'll set that over here. And now we're going to do just like we did in the last one, okay? So I'm just going to take this and I won't use my Norvice functions so that I keep everybody else's pace. All I'm going to do is I'm going to do touching wraps forward as we go. So again, guys, don't hesitate to ask questions if you have them about techniques or anything we're doing. I'm going to leave a little bit of space behind those eyes, but not a ton. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to gather that material. And I'll go ahead and snip it out. Set it aside. Just going to take that brush to it just for a quick sec, make sure I didn't trap down anything. Good. And now we just follow through with that schlappen, okay? So I'm going to take that schlappen, I'm going to encourage those fibers rearward as I go. Keep stroking them back. All I'm doing is doing this. Fold them back into the next wrap. For the most part, they sort themselves out though. They go in the direction that you want quite seamlessly. And we'll just keep going. We're going to take this right up to behind the head where we left the chenille. So we get up here. Resin Girl's got nothing on him. Trust me, the dance that I just saw. All right, so once I get up here to the head, do that final wrap. And then I'm going to take some thread wraps to secure it. A couple behind, a couple in front. Make sure it's not going anywhere. I'm going to reach in there and snip out that stem. Like so. Thing of beauty. I'm going to just kind of stroke those fibers back a little bit.
Do you love my music selection?
Your music selection has been very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Just need some affirmation.
Yeah, you got it.
Remember I told you at the start of the show I used to be a DJ?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Well, I meant to tell you that
Today's your first
at
day.
hour 2, that 2 hours ago I was a DJ.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That makes more sense.
I'm building my story. Oh, Ron's late to the party.
Ron, welcome.
I also drinking a beer out of Utah called Cutthroat. What kind of beer is that, Bo? IPA. It is a wheat beer. Is it a Pilsner? What is the best way to learn thread tension between?
Can you talk?
All right, just
All
hold
right.
still between capturing wraps and such. Because if you're gonna learn quick because how your material splays out.
Yep.
That's how you're gonna find out whether you're doing a capturing wrap, a securing wrap. What are the other wraps? I used to rap too.
Yeah. Of course you did.
Sometimes when I'm on the way to the river, I called Janine. I wish she was watching right now. And I rap for her. And because I'm trying to figure out. There it is. I'm back. I get to be a part of it.
Woo.
And she calls me Ginger Pain.
Ginger
Sounds
Pain.
like you're 3 beer in. Well, folks, this is a 3 beer. This way. They went this way. I don't know which screen to look at. Like,
that one's behind. That one's on time.
this one's behind. I don't know where this one is. That one is just doesn't have graphics on it. So, all right. Yes, you're true. It is true. I am 3 beer deep. Yvonne just sent an email. Guideline bead head versus hook picture. The answer to the question that was previously asked. So let me check. Let me check what's up. Okay, here I got one.
Man.
Oh, that's cool. It's the size of the beads that fit on certain hooks.
Mm.
So we got to still do that. We talk about it, doing like bead size with hooks. Yvonne, thanks for sending that. That's really awesome. That's going to help us to talk about this because we also want to talk about thread sizes and what all the mumbo jumbo is. DJ Trey Cerveza. Yeah, well, I had 3 beer.
Trey Cerveza.
Are we in an elevator? Kim, we can be in an elevator if we're going up.
Now we're going up.
This is free music, okay? It's I wish I gotta grab another beer. Just hold one.
Another beer.
Because unlike
Was
last week,
Yeah.
you can't have these.
I can't have
you
more. I
are
gotta drive.
driver
He is,
Tim.
he's
and I
soaking
am-
it in.
So right, stay with us. Tim's yawning.
I was yawning. It's true.
Okay, so without much further ado, let's get back to you
We're almost done. We're super close.
and your fly.
So all of you last week just wished that my heads would fall apart. So maybe this is your week. 'cause
This
we got
maybe
another
it's
one.
it. What do you think? Well,
I think not. This one's easier than last week. There's no, well, there is trimming, but it's not deer hair. So I don't have to spin deer hair. Okay, so we're gonna put a mallard flank on just like we did in the back. So let's go ahead and grab your mallard flank. I'm gonna go back and strip out those fluffies that are in the back end.
yeah. See, people do like my tunes.
They're grooving more now. Yeah. Oh yes.
So bad.
I just imagining a workout video and some tight fluorescent colored.
Yeah. The 88 Olympics
Oh, yeah.
called. They
Totally.
want their DeSantes back. Cam probably has one.
Oh, I'm sure he
He's
does.
probably tying in one right
Oh,
now.
man.
He's got the AC in the house cranked up, wearing his DeSantes with his goggles. What are those big glasses that people wear now? They
Like aviators?
no, they're like there's I don't know, maybe people wear them, but what are they called? They're like vipers.
Oh, pit vipers.
Pit vipers.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Cam wearing his DeSante fluorescent ski suit, wearing his pit vipers, tying some flies.
Tying
I
flies.
can picture it.
Oh, it's happening.
Let's
right
do
now.
a short film about that.
Yes. Okay.
Sun
Mallard
ice.
flank.
Yes, sun ice. Sun ice. A onesie. Oh my. I'm going back to when I was 9 years old. It's good times.
Okay.
Okay, you finish this
Okay, I'm
fly.
trying to finish this. You're taking up all my
I
time
know,
here.
because
Okay.
I'm having fun.
We want this mallard flank. Oh man, another great song. It sounds just like the last one. Sounds like music from Seinfeld. Oh yeah. We want this feather to come just slightly back, overlapping that back one. We don't want it to extend super far like so. We just want it to be just over the beads. Okay? So we're gonna take that. We're gonna secure it right behind those eyes. Pull up that stem, do a couple there. Then we can trim out that butt. We'll spread out that nice profile of that mallard flank over the top, like so. All right, now the fun begins. I'm gonna try to simplify this for you. Okay, so at home you've got this dubbing. It's more of a dubbing than a wool, but work with it the best you can. Principles are the same. So when you're taking this stuff, you want to stack it. You want to kind of pull and stack it a bit. Kind of rub it together like so. So it's as long as you can get it, and that's how you're going to tie it in. Okay? I'm going to use wool. I'm going to show you the traditional way of doing this. It's tied with sculpin wool. So this stuff here. Sculpin wool. Yeah. Okay. So all I've done is I've cut out a little chunk of it. Now I'm going to peel out some pieces, okay? You do want these to be not super thick, but you do want them to be full. And so I've got this this big mess here. I'm going to pull some of it out so I can fluff up those fibers. Like so, and stack them, just like you would with the dubbing, okay? Like so. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and flip my fly upside down. I'm going to fold this around my thread, like so it's 50-50, half on one side, half on the other. I'm going to hold it like this. So now it's on my thread, you can see here. And I'm going to suck it right down behind those eyes. And I'm going to pull it tight so it's not going anywhere. And while it's tight, I'm going to take one more wrap, two more wrap, three more wrap so it can't go anywhere. Then I can let go. Boom. Filled up that back like nothing. Okay? Now, all I'm going to do, I'm going to leave my thread behind the eyes still, but I'm going to pull back up to the top. We're going to repeat the exact same process. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to grab some more wool or dubbing. Let us know how this is going at home, because this can be a difficult material to work with, just because it's not normal. It's not like deer hair. It's not like actual dubbing. If you're actually doing it with wool, okay. Now I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I've kind of got it 50-50. I'm gonna fold it around my thread. Match up the tips-ish the best that you can. Make sure I'm not messing up my wool that's on the bottom. I'm gonna come straight up, pull that down so you can see I have control of it with the thread. I'm gonna pull it right down on top, pull tight, and now run my thread around the hook a couple times so it's not going anywhere. Then I can let go, like so. Now he's got a faux hawk. Look at that, looks good. It's like my hair in high school. Now I take my thread, I'm gonna try to pull these back. I'm gonna take my thread and advance it to just in front of the dumbbell eyes. Okay? Just in front of the dumbbell eyes. Now I'm gonna flip it upside down again. I'm gonna repeat the exact same thing I just did, except I'm gonna do it on the bottom again and then back to the top. Grab some more of this wool. Well, that's a bit long. Just give me a second, I'm gonna trim some. So I'm gonna pull it, separate a little. This is a little bit long, but that's okay because we trim it all anyways. Okay, like so. Gather it. I'm gonna wrap it around my thread again like I did before.
Is this the Don King cut?
Now for when I'm in front, I want to keep my thread as close to that dumbbell eyes as I can, so you can see it's just in front of it, right? I'm gonna pull in, I'm gonna pull down and tighten. I'm gonna pull that wool out of the way and do some thread wraps over top so it can't slip forward. Leave my thread there and then let go. Gets that nice bushy head, and now it looks like I tied it in all the way up to the head, but it's actually tied in just in front of those dumbbell eyes. Flip it back up. This is probably one of the hardest pieces right here at the end because I'm working around all this wool being right where I want to tighten down. But I'm gonna grab my last piece of wool. So I'm showing you, this actually isn't too tough, guys. This is
eight weeks of quarantine. I'm sure that looks pretty popular right now.
Yeah, this is just the normal haircut these days. All right. So I stacked it all up. That's a little much, a little bit much. Same thing as I did before, guys. I'm gonna wrap it around my thread, and same as I did on the exact last one, I wanna keep it nice and close to those dumbbell eyes. Okay? So this is where it gets kind of tough because you kind of got to hold stuff out of the way. But I want to pull this right down, nice and tight on top. Pull that stuff back so I can get some thread wraps right on the hook itself. Once I got it good and secure, then I can let go. Okay? Then I want to pull it all back. You can see I actually got quite a bit of eye exposed, but once I let go, it fills up that space.
Do that again.
Ready, 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 ready?
Boom.
Boom. That's really good.
That's
like
amazing.
One more time, just because we have to.
Do you have to put UV resin on this?
No. Maybe. Wait.
Oh, Matthew York is late, but he's here. He had a honey to-do list. Matthew, watch this.
You ready?
And we got
a little dab of resin on the bear hook.
We've got some resin, so we want to welcome the resin girl.
Whoa!
Boom. Oh, she's not even phased.
Not even at all.
She didn't even flinch. Didn't even flinch.
Not even a little. Oh yeah.
That's why she's our resin girl.
Yeah, she gets it. She knows what's up.
Oh, so Matthew has a good question. Can you start over from the beginning? Absolutely.
Yes, why not? I'll unwind it all.
Go.
Matthew, give me a minute. I can do it again for you. I can show you just the head.
So, yes, he loves Resin Girl. Matthew, that's Resin Girl. Mm-hmm. Every time Tim puts on resin, she shows up.
Yeah. We actually call her Razine.
Razine.
Razine, yeah.
Razine.
Yeah. She prefers it that way.
She does prefer Razine.
It's spelled with a K.
Oh, a K. R-K-J-I-S-N.
So it starts with a K. K-R.
All right, shave this bush.
All right, let's shave the... Okay.
Quarantine is over. What is the first thing that's going to happen?
Please.
You were going to Shave.
Let's save our work before we do that.
Oh, that looks like a Wookiee.
It does. Pull it back out of the way. Let's whip finish it. Just try to part it with your fingers the best you can.
You do you.
Oh man. Whip finish it off. Do a couple of whip finishes. 4 or 5 turns. Call it good. We'll go in and snip that thread out. There we go. And now we just want to get this crazy. We're going to grab a little comb.
Look at that thing.
We want to comb it up.
Oh.
You want it to look wild.
Use your beard brush.
Yep, get in there, brush it out. You want to stand it up. Get it looking good. Make sure you haven't trapped anything down. Pull it out the best you can. And now it's just a trim job, guys.
Trim it.
Get out the buzzer. We're going to flip it upside down. So what we want out of this fly, I'll show you this one. We want, this music is really good.
Oh man, it's got me
Feeling
so
it.
excited.
So if you look at the bottom of this one, we want to shave that bottom right flat. Okay, so we're not really keeping anything there. We're going to end up exposing that cactus chenille on our schlappen at the bottom. So, not exact science here, guys. Just get trimming. So I'm going to just start by just working it down. Just take off a little bit at a time. But I know that I'm going to really be flattening out this whole bottom. But you don't want to cut into your schlappen. So
leave the schlappen alone.
Leave it alone. You go in there and trim it.
Resina. Resina might be her name.
Resina.
Oh, it's people want you to put some more resin on.
Okay.
Well, if that fly's ever gonna get down, you're gonna have to cake the resin on.
Yeah, give me a second. We'll get some. I'm sure I can find some resin purposes here.
Yes, even if you have to just put it on your fingernails.
Yeah. Okay, so we're not going for a final product right away here, guys. We're just trimming. Okay, do a little trim, flatten that bottom out pretty good. We're gonna flip it back upside down, and we're trying to create a fairly good rounded head as we go into the back. So we're gonna round it. But we want to maintain in the back, we want to keep like a profile. This is not going to see this. So we want to keep a wide profile.
I can switch. I was just getting ready for resin.
Oh, okay, soon. So we want to think of the head, if the head being at the bottom of my palm, we want to get this kind of shape out of the head so that when we're moving forward, so this shape, so that we're tapering up into that mallard flank at the back. So we're going to try to trim it in that fashion. I'm going to come up and trim a bit of a roundish head on it, and leaving a bit of a flare to the what we'd almost call the collar of it, okay? All right, you can hit the camera again there, buddy.
Oh, yeah, sure, bud.
Yeah, sure, bud. Okay, so we're just gonna get at it. We're gonna kind of make a little bit of a...
Tim, how much do you charge for a haircut?
How much do I charge? It's free. If I get to give someone a haircut, it's free.
Oh, it's free.
No promises, but it's gonna turn out
You can come on next week, Thursday Night Live Fly Time, and we will cut your hair for free.
For free.
This looks lopsided. I hope you got more plans for resin.
So then I'm going to flip it sideways. So I've kind of got a bit of a rounded head to start. We're going to come back and work on that.
Sven Diesel is in the house.
What's up, Sven? Thanks for joining in, buddy. All right. So I'm going to turn it sideways so now you can see. I'm going to trim.
Oh, Sven might want to see Resina.
Okay. Jeez.
Sven, stay put.
One sec. I got to put some resin on. I'm sure this eyeball could use some resin. There it is. All right, bring her out.
All right, you put on the resin. Did you put resin on?
I did. Waiting for you.
All right, there's Resina, folks. There she is.
There she is.
Every time. She's not even, maybe she's getting a tan. We don't even know. She loves it. Look at her. Resina loves the resin.
Loves
folks, that is Resina. When the resin comes out, so does she.
So, remembering that shape we're trying to attain at the end, switch over to the other side. We're kind of creating that taper out of the back here. What I will say is don't overshave, because once you overshave, you can't go back. So once you start to get the shape that you like, avoid the area you've already shaved, okay?
And if you like Resina, You're gonna love Phil.
Oh, Phil's great. Phil might be better than Rosina.
Phil approves or disapproves your flies.
Yeah.
I don't control what Phil does. Phil does what Phil does. So when you're done, you let me know and I'll call in Phil.
Okay, you let me know.
I'll call him to clean it up and approve or disprove your fly.
So I'm going to work on rounding this a bit more. Still a bit bowl shape-ish in the head. So I'm just working on a taper here, guys. I'm kind of going in and out, in and out. Take a look at it, see what the overall shape looks like. I'm gonna get rid of a little bit more.
You should just get out the electric clippers.
I know, you really should. We want this fur to extend a little bit into the mallard flank, but we don't want it to go super far back. So we're not trying to, because remember, the more we have on here, the harder it is to get it to go down. Okay, so I'm just kind of just working little bits at a time. I'm not going super wild because I want to try to create that shape I want, but I don't want to take off too much all at once. So it's starting to get a little better up top. It's kind of getting that shape that I like that nice broad head. Almost there. And if you put it in the fibers the right way, you're gonna have a nice full looking head. You're not gonna see your thread in there, anything like that. And if you didn't, well, Cam, send us a photo, please.
Yeah, Cam, send us a photo of the electrocuted green onion. Remember to practice safe resining tonight.
Yes.
Yes. My shank looks long with all the trimming. You've trimmed too much, Cam. Put some back on.
Yeah.
Put some resin and slap some of that schlappen in there. Come on, Phil's waiting. He wants to know if this...
I like it. I'm happy with my style.
Are you?
So look at this. You can see, if you look at the dumbbell eyes, you can see I've left some bulk to the side up here. Same thing on the other side. I guess you could have seen it from the same angle. I've left a little bit down here as well, so I got that nice wide head. So it just kind of evenly flows into that mallard flank, okay? That's what I'm trying to attain here. And I like it. I am gonna over trim, watch me. Okay, I'm done. I'm almost done. I'm gonna pull out my handy. Ooh, look at this.
That is,
Look at
the love.
Oh man. What are you bringing out here?
I give you love.
I'm gonna burn you love.
I give you some love on that fly.
All right. I'm just gonna come and clear up some material around the eye.
Ooh, yeah, burn it. How do you fish this fly in a river?
Suck it in.
Most often, you will hit it into the cut banks and strip it off. Cast 45 from a boat, I speak. Cast downstream into the bank. Tap upstream, just kind of off the bank. It depends. There's different kinds of waters. You can swing it through a run, which I'll be doing probably tomorrow, somewhere out west by myself because I don't have friends. You guys are my only friends. If you guys can get here, you can come with me. The music is Price is Right, and I need to bid the price of the fly without going over. Yes, this is exactly what it is.
All right, I'm done. I'm not touching it anymore.
We are trying to play the worst music. We should bring back that 80s soundtrack. That was good. That will make people pumped again. I'll pump you up.
All right, Phil.
Sven, you're not in Calgary West. There it is. Okay, so, folks, you know what we do at this time of the night?
Yeah.
When the fly is finished, if you guys could just type in Phil into the comments, okay, convince him to show up, and I think he will. This was another 3-beer fly
with Tim.
Another 3-beer fly with Tim.
Oh man, this playlist.
I just need to call in Phil and see if he's gonna come in and clean up.
All right, Phil. Let's see what you think, buddy.
All right, Phil. Sven called Phil, so let's just see what Phil thinks of this fly. Phil, You can clean up that
What do you
wool.
think? What do you think, buddy? Let me know. What do you think?
Phil.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Phil approves.
Yeah, I approve of that
Oh,
shirt
yeah. Thanks, Phil.
too.
Thanks, Phil, for coming out. Thank you guys for
Thank
coming
you
out.
guys
Look
for
at
coming
this.
out.
Phil. Everyone's calling Phil. And Jim called them F-I-L-L. That's how they do things down my street, folks.
Down in Rosebud.
They don't have two consonants, P and an H, together. Okay, let's get you guys good with the fly. Everybody's had success. That's another great tie. Great job, bud.
Thank you.
Great job. Let's put you up. Let's put me and you up. There we are, listening to 80s. So Phil approved.
Phil approved. For both. Lucky guy.
He said, thumbs up, Tim. Great tie. He cleaned up your mess.
I wish he would. I wish he would.
And he went about his business. So that's what we kind of do here Thursday nights. We have not a lot of plans. We wing it. We have fun with you guys. And honestly, if you guys don't sit here and chirp us and comment, we're just a couple of dorks tying in a basement studio.
Well, I'm tying, so you're just a dork sitting there.
Yeah, so I'm watching. I'm even worse.
Yeah, you're just the corner
Drinking
watching.
beer, watching you, with some cheesy music in the background.
Oh, cheesy.
And so, nice fly, Tim. Mike Hawkins.
Thanks, Mike.
Sven says nice fly. That looks awesome. I'd love to try that on pike. So if you did fish it on pike, I'd go a little bigger. I think it would be a one fly and done. That wool would not.
That wool would probably not hold up super well.
But yeah, it would work. It would work. We fished. We caught a really nice pike on Saturday out of the bow, and it was on a very similar fly. It was the Menage a Trois, which I believe is basically a circus peanut.
Menage a Trois?
Three. It's three hooks.
It's three, but it's got fur on the. It's got wool on the head.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much the
Menage a
exact
Trois is
same
like
thing.
or is it a dungeon with?
I think it's a dungeon.
With
Anyways,
three
they're
sections,
all
yeah.
the same. They just kind of all have different heads. Or one of my favorite flies. This playlist is not available on Spotify because it is a paid subscription, and it allows us to play it so we don't get booted off of Facebook, because that's common practice. What weight fly line? 6, 7 weight?
6 or 7.
7 helps you throw it. Mark, I believe you're a Green Bay Packers fan. Appreciate you tuning in. Trying to follow up here with all of the comments. How's this working, by the way? Because I don't like sitting here on my phone. I like to read the comments here. So Rick lost a circus peanut today. Sad day. That's
only $10-12.
It's only $10. I mean, why not? And where did you lose it? Did it fall? Would you tie it with something other than wool or deer hair? You could wrap the chenille on the head.
You do like a laser dub with a fish skull or something.
Yeah. Yeah, which would then be a Stroll's ice pick.
Yeah.
Definitely, you can do lots of different heads. The fish skulls are really good. They're convenient. They're easy to do.
Yeah, somebody did. Who was it last week that did the?
It was Scott. He did.
Yeah, that was good. It looked really
D&D
good.
with a fish skull.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're gonna hang out here for about another 4 minutes.
Yeah. Gonna add some flies
Charles,
in the box.
Appreciate Shuswap Lake is on fire. Rainbows on bucktails all day longs. Road trip. I would love to road trip.
Would love that.
So yeah, what Tim's doing here is filling up this fly box. This fly box these are Canadian dollars, folks. So if you're from America.
Their flies cost the same though there, to be honest.
Yeah. But we're going to talk Canadian dollars. We've been filling up this fly box all year, and we will continue to fill it. We will make sure that it's double-sided, so if you flipped it over, you just kind of have an idea of all of the flies. We will fill it. We will fill it. And in the next couple weeks, you will be able to buy a ticket to win it. A ticket to win it. That doesn't rhyme, but that's what I'm going with. You will be able to. Nope, can't find a rhyme. So,
It has escaped you.
anyways, there's probably going to be about $1,000 to $2,000 worth of flies in this box, and the box is included. So stay tuned for the details because we want you to have it. And we feel like we could charge $10 for a ticket. Let's say ticket. Sven, we cannot say raffle because the raffle is illegal up here. So we have to say ticket. So what we probably will do is have you purchase something on our store for $5 or $10. And you will be entered, and you can buy 10 tickets, 100 tickets, 1 ticket. And however many tickets you purchase, you will be put into a raffle. A raffle-ish. Yeah, and then we'll give it away. So we've just kind of done this year. We just kept filling it up with all the flies that we've tied. And we are going to continue to stock it. So that thing will be full when we raffle it off for you guys. The other thing is if you like these signs that we have beside us, they are for sale. So shoot me an email, info@flyfishingboatriver.com, and I can get you the details on those. Ben's heading out next weekend. Often I've been to the shoe swaps for May long, houseboating. Bo, I learned some stuff tonight, guys. Thank you. I want to learn more, but I got to get some tying stuff. Any recommendations for a starter kit? So budget's a huge thing, because if budget, wherever that lies, you... Just checking out the internet. It's telling us it's having troubles.
Ooh, don't like that.
Yeah, appreciate that, Sven. Maybe you can help us push this. We've lost the first 2 months of our guide season, so we're gonna just sell some flies, and hopefully that helps us a bit. But definitely no obligation. You guys come here for free. It doesn't cost you anything. Thank you for your efforts to brighten up otherwise dreary days we are all enduring. Doug, we can't wait till we can have beer with you and hang out at the brewery.
Totally. Yeah.
Just trying to read the rest here. So recommendations for a starter kit.
The Wapsi kit is probably one of the better ones. And I do recommend a kit because when you get started, you don't want to just go out and blow a ton of money on, on one set of materials. Like by the time you get going, you will add a ton of materials into your repertoire and whatnot. They just give you a certain amount of patterns and the materials to tie those patterns, and quite a bit of material for those patterns. So I think the Wapsi one's maybe Canadian 150-ish bucks, and that comes with a very basic vise and the materials to really see if you like it or want to do it. And then probably your next thing you will do is upgrade your vise, and then you can start just stocking those materials.
Or if you took $500, you could buy a loon kit. You could buy Renzetti Traveler-ish vise. You have all your tools. You have your vise. You're probably at, I believe you're in the US, so you're probably at about 300 American. And then if you have a fly shop that you trust, head in there and just, get some colors of thread. Get your basic materials, your chenilles, your schlappens, your dubbing. Get a gamut of hooks. I think for $500 or $600, you could, the kits are awesome.
You could get started.
But that's, again, what is your budget? And that's
if you want more help with that, just, again, shoot us an email, and we can, if you say, hey, this is my budget, we can kind of direct you a little better according to what you want to spend, more or less.
John, I would pay for this to go on past the next 3 weeks if you all still wanted to do it. John's a first class dude.
Yeah. What's up, John? Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think the conflict is hopefully we're working too much to be able to do this.
Yeah. Hopefully, like if we have to I don't know, it sounds bad. If the opportunity of the world presents itself that we are still to be here, we will be here for you guys to keep going. We were supposed to end the beginning of April.
Yeah.
And so we've kept going, and you guys have to understand the support that you give the brewery when you go down and pick up a free bag and you buy a 6-pack of beer or more. They're super gracious for that because it's helping keep doors open in these times. So we thank you guys for that.
Yeah.
There's no cut for us. There's just the gratitude, or the what's the word I'm looking for? The selfish joy that we get knowing that you guys are helping support another small business. So we appreciate that. Yeah, so if we're here, we'll still be here. And if we get the go ahead to start guiding, we'd love to be on the water, because it's now our time to go to work. So we'd love to do that. And if you guys are up in the area, we'd love to take you out, whether it's the Bow River, whether it's the mountain streams, whatever it is. We would love to see you. We'd love to take care of you. If it's in the off season, hopefully we're back at the brewery and we can all join up again. So come and find us. I bought a hairline and it was good as well. Great. Guest tires. Yes, we have guest tires. We're just not allowed to have people here. I've been by 12 to 18 beers every week at the brewery. Ben, appreciate it, man.
Thank you for that, man. Yeah.
And their beer is actually very good.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Ian, the owner there, I chatted with him the other day when I went in, and they're super thankful. They also want to help keep this going if the opportunity. I have a Regal that is a good one. Right behind Tim's head is a Regal. It is a great, really good Vice. I think I'm losing comments. Thanks for the tie. Where can we order some flies from you? We don't sell flies. Our business is guiding. This is just a passion project that we've done for the past couple of years. So if you are tuning in late and you didn't kind of get the pre-talk about Thursday Night Live, we've set this up as an event in our city with a bunch of whoever wants to show up, and we put out 30 bags of material with 2 tied flies. Totally free. We don't charge for that. We don't charge for the instruction. We just go to the brewery and do this, and we get to hang out with a bunch of people. So yeah, we don't sell the flies. Because this has escalated pretty quick and the viewership has been pretty awesome, such as you guys, and the demand is high to get these bags so that you guys can continue to follow us next year, we are making plans to make that happen so that you guys have a chance to order the bags and we can ship them out to you and carry on with that. Tying is a pastime. Spend it how you want to enjoy. I've just been getting materials for different flies as I tie them. So it's a great thing that Jason said, is getting materials for different flies as you tie them. So the thing about us putting these bags together is you get enough to tie that fly, and if you love it, then you can go out to your local fly shop and buy all those materials. But oftentimes you go out, spend $60 to tie one fly, and you're not really a fan of it.
Yeah, and sure, you could tie 15 of the same fly, but if you don't love it, it's like, it was kind of a waste. So, yeah.
And John, yes, we will see you this summer. You're bringing your dad up. Can I bring my doggies, Bo, to the river or to the brewery? Craig, appreciate it. Thank you, man. I can't wait to hang out with you guys again in person. Ian's great. Yes, I'll show you the electrocuted. Cam, do not buy a fly off of Cam.
He is good at a lot of things, just not tying heads on streamers.
Yes, Adrian, we miss hanging out with you. Who ties flies they don't like? Come on, that's a good point, Sven. The idea is that I have a lot of material of flies that I thought would be super cool to tie, a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I think the thing is when you're guiding, you're tying functionally to get you through the guide season, and you don't get the time or the space to go crazy on pattern, so you kind
It's
of
winter. This is really
Yeah.
when we get to do it. Otherwise you're spinning up worms. That's about the gist.
That's a good point, because who doesn't enjoy that?
It's fun.
Yeah, you should do this for a sec.
What should I do? You tell me.
Just talk about something, because I have to go check.
Oh, you gotta go. You
I
gotta
check
go.
the camera.
Oh yeah, go check out the toilet. And that's 4 beer Dana.
Well,
He's
Tim
going.
is
Oh yeah, 3 beer Tim was also under the table. I'm a lightweight. I cannot drink like he can. Not at all. But yeah, guys, thanks. This has been another great night. We look forward to these days. You know, for us, things are starting to be a little bit more relaxed here. Not super, but you know, things feel good. But especially when we started, this was just such an important thing for us. Dana's the only person I really get to see outside my family or the people I treat at work. So it's having this connection with you guys virtually is really amazing. Not only tonight, but all the comments, the photos we get to see of your flies, which if you took some photos tonight or you tied along with us, we would really love to see them. So go post them on Instagram or on Facebook and tag us in it so we can see it. And yeah, let us know what you guys tied and let us see what they look like. That's kind of the fun of it for us too, is we get to see how yours turned out in comparison. But yeah, that is that.
It's like I didn't even leave.
Yeah, barely. You were pretty quick.
Yeah, I just had to turn the cameras on.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Okay, best night of the week, and now more than ever.
Totally agree.
It's funny how fast they go. Like if we really have been, I haven't calculated, but 7 weeks.
Yeah, I think it has been 7 weeks.
Because it's been 8 weeks since we went into pseudo lockdown.
And you did
and
one
the
more week
first-
at the brewery.
Yeah, we did the last one before that, and then we were
came
here. So seven.
It's crazy, man.
Huh.
It's crazy.
Cool. Marcus is going to bed. That's interesting.
Good idea.
Bo, thanks. And you guys, all of you guys who continue to show up here and be funny and chirp people and chirp us and make fun of whatever. It's all in
In good fun.
It's all in good fun, and we appreciate it, because this makes us not losers hanging out by ourselves. So,
Yeah. Well, that's what we would be doing, so.
yeah, hand sanitizer Dana. Yeah, all over that. I enjoy this. Definitely try and make a fly tying session this year. Jason, are you from Calgary area? I'm not sure if I missed that. Okay, Yvonne, peace out. Appreciate you always. I appreciate your email with the bead size relative to hook size. We're definitely going to put something together so that we can talk about stuff like that and threads and whatnot. And thank you for sending that. The last night at the brewery was a weird night. People were afraid to. It was the beginning of it all.
Yeah.
How about Friday when we went fishing? Like, at the end of the day was like, I felt it's weird. I mean, well, that's what I also want to say about the podcast.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So speaking of just being normal, like at the end of the day was like, that's the first day I felt normal, because 2 weeks ago when we both took our girls out on our separate boats, it was still just weird.
It felt
like,
super
it just
weird.
Felt so
There's a lot of eyes and
yeah,
lots
it just
of.
felt weird.
But that was, yeah, it was great. I mean, the normalcy of just
It was
being
just
together,
weird,
it was different, yeah.
And then
you know,
Saturday was, I had 2 days in a row of that where it's just like, gosh, is it the river? Is it?
well, I mean, for us, that's the river is our
Yeah,
home,
it's a
and when
weird-
we don't
so-
get to be on it for we would have probably had 2 months on that river already, or beginning of April, right? So we'd probably have 15 floats under our belts by now, and we've had 2, so
Yeah, it's
strange.
it's weird, but yeah. So kind of you heard it here first. All 40 people that still stayed put. I've started a podcast, and it will be out shortly. By shortly, I mean in a day or two. And what it's about is, and you guys can all be on it because this isn't it's inclusive, not exclusive of anybody in particular. But all that you have to be able to say to me is that fly fishing saved your life. I could say that for myself. Tim's under the same
Definitely.
premise with that. So if you have a story about how fly fishing has saved your life, whether it has just made it an awesome life, whether it has made it a better life, whether it has saved you from drugs and alcohol, whether it has been a recovery process, I don't really care how dramatic your story is, but if you can look me in the eye and say fly fishing saved your life, I would love for you to send me an email. Now I'm cross-platforming because
I know. It's like, now where do you email?
Which email? I'll put it up here. Just hold put. Okay, because what I'm going to do is just tell your story. So it's going to be an interview style story, and you're just going to tell me your story. And why I had this idea was from guiding for the past 10 years is how many people on my boat said to me, oh man, and then this, and then this, and then fly fishing saved my life. And I can relate to this story. So I want to tell your story if you have a story. So just hang on. Let me put this up here. Tim talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good. He's been talking about doing this for quite some time, but the idea of this is just, it's encouragement for each other, right? It's to hear other people's stories, to just understand that even though you may not think that it's done that for you, and maybe it hasn't, but for both me and Dana, it's been a huge, not only changer of our life and our lifestyle, we pretty much live it now. It's part of it's integral into our life. But the turns that it's made for us in our lives is pretty cool. So for the opportunity to hear your stories is as much encouragement to us to hear that, right? So we're excited and we know, because we hear it from our clients all the time, it's not just us. So we know there's a lot of people who it's changed their life in some way or the other, or maybe it's bonded a relationship with your dad, or it's allowed you to get your wife out into the outdoors with you doing something, or maybe she's drugged you out in the outdoors doing it and now you love it together. Like there's a lot that can be shared, and we want to hear it. So
yeah, so my email is up on the screen. I believe that's all correct. firstcastlastpass@hotmail.com, or however you found us. Send me a message because I would love to talk to you. So it should be live on iTunes and wherever you listen to your podcast. There's an intro episode up there just kind of talking about what I talked about right now. But yeah, so it's just telling your story through an interview style thing. It can be a call in. I can take care of you right here. Plug the phone in, and we're just going to chat about all things fly fishing and how fly fishing saved your life. Whether it's super dramatic, whether it's just minor, I think we're all here for a reason because we're like-minded people, and I would love to hear from you. So please send me an email. Yes, there's a lot of studies out there about fly fishing being incredibly meditative as well. It's
definitely,
whatever your spiritual reckoning is, it's spiritual. There's something magical about a river. I see it all the time, doing 80 some trips on average a year times 10 years is 800 times 2 people is 16,000 people. Roughly, give or take.
yeah,
That's a lot of people that you get to sit and listen and tell and see their story and watch them at the end of the day, how they've just changed physically, emotionally, spiritually. Not to weird you guys out. This is a fly tie night drinking beer, but you get it because you're here for a reason. Because we're all like-minded. So please do. Justin says that he wishes the wife would drag him out fly fishing.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to drag her out, and then she gets hooked, and then you're back, and then she drags you out. So, okay, that's 2 hours and 43 minutes and 42 seconds. And you guys are awesome. I love all of you. I appreciate you all tuning in and being a part of the show. We couldn't do it without we could, but it would really suck.
It would not be the same. It'd be a little boring.
Yep. So let me cue the outro.
Outro.
Let me send Tim
Nope, you sent yourself out.
There's the
Oh, there we go.
boogeyman. There's the boogeyman. All right. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Oh, I pressed the wrong. Okay, guys, what I meant to do is press this one. Oh, we can't be perfect, but in the meantime.